radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? Today's Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. Let's do this, man. Schrader. I'm free as a bird. Yeah. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer, and UnX Networks, Race Hobbs. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? All right. Man, it's going to be a big show tonight. That's right. Dave Schrader. Dave Schrader is back. He's here to talk about his new series, Ghosts of Devil's Perch. Have you seen it yet? You need to check it out. Discovery Plus, Travel Channel. First 3 episodes are out. It's good stuff, man. We're going to be talking about that tonight and so much more. And yeah, I've watched the first 3 episodes. I'm texting Dave. Now, you know, he's like, Dave is north of Canada. You know, he's up there somewhere on the border of the United States and Canada. And, you know, I don't know what time zone he's in, but, you know, so last night, and I'm like, dude, I'm texting Dave from my bed. Dude. And he hit me back. Yeah, man. I said, dude, I know, right? Right. And there we are texting like little kids over his new series. And it's amazing. It's amazing. Check it out. The Ghosts of Devil's Perch. What does all of that mean? What is Devil's Perch? It's pretty interesting. You need to go and check it out. We'll be talking about all of that tonight. Dave Schrader is here. Tomorrow night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. And besides tonight with Dave Schrader, tomorrow night's my favorite night of the week. All right. Coming up, I will be hosting the Conscious Life Expo this February 10th through the 13th at the LAX Hilton. Tickets and info right now at consciouslifeexpo.com. I'm assuming that, I know of the events and things, but I'm assuming everything is going to be the same that it is every year. We will have a booth at our same spot that we're at every year. Man, that would bum me out if they moved us. It's right next to the elevators, man, so I can just up to the room, back down. You know, it's great. Anyway, it's the little things, man. It's the little things. And then right after that, April 7th through the 14th, 2023, I am taking my first cruise. And headed down to Mexico. And it's the Hidden Secrets Seminar at Sea Cruise. I'll be hosting and presenting. and a great list of speakers, including Scott Wolter and Adam Apollo, Nick Pope, Brad Olson, Vivian Chavez is going to be. You got to meet Vivian. You've got to go on this cruise with me and hang out with Vivian. She's absolutely amazing. So anyway, we're all going to be there. Come in and do a cruise with me. I heard, I don't know if it was, they've got this particular ship that we're on. I think it's got the biggest, the tallest water slide on the ocean. I think that's what it is. I wonder if they got a go-kart track. That'd be cool. you go out to sea and you do all the stuff you can do on land, but it's not like, I mean, submarine rides. Well, that would be cool. Snorkeling, jumping off the deck into the ocean. That'd be cool. Can you do that? Can you swim with the dolphins? No, you just do all the stuff you do on land, but it's out at sea. So there you go. I can't wait. This is going to be so much fun. And the links for that are below. I want you to get your free membership right now to the UnX Network. It's simple. Click on the link below. Head over. Get your free membership to the X. You get the free month. It's free, right? It's free. Everybody needs to just get this done. Go get the monthly newsletter and all the blogs that you're going to have access to. And they do events all year long, online and in-person conferences, all those X conferences. So you can go and do all of that. Free digital copy of their quarterly magazine, which is an amazing magazine. And you get all of that. And it's just free. So just go and get registered right now. And now, Eden Pure, I mentioned this last week that they extended the 3-pack special. Well, they've done it again. They have extended it. And because of the response from all of you Fadernauts, and I love that. And this is really cool. So you get to save $300. You get 3 of them, and kills viruses, kills germs, makes everything smell great, plugs in the wall. It's got a USB port. Put it in your car. Put it in your car. I told you. And I'm not kidding about this. I know you've got a 6-month-old Big Mac box in a bag with uneaten French fries in the back seat. I know that you do. All right. Well, okay. Keep doing that with your thunderstorm. Nobody's going to know. All right. They're not going to see. People get in your car and they go, right. And they look around. What is that? Is there something under your seat? You don't want to be that person. You don't have to anymore. Get a Thunderbird. You got a Thunderbird. Thunderstorm 3-pack special. Promo code is Fader3. All right. That's all you got to do. Click on the link below. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. The Sandbox is live right in front of me. There's Olivia with a dancing monkey. What is that? A dancing monkey. Tri-scale. It's got some Simpsons going on. And yeah, right. Betty Jo Jack, she's awesome. Stephen Owen, Stephen with shrimp scampi. Yeah. I'll give away my shrimp scampi recipe one day. It's a simple recipe. It's how you do it. All right. My recipe it's like 1,000 years old. That's right. It was handed down by Catholic monks from Sicily. What the heck was that? Did you guys hear that? Okay, hold on a minute here. Did you guys hear that? Okay, I'm popping this in here right now. Did you guys hear that? Oh, I don't even know what that sounded like. And that's going down when I have Schrader on the show. Man, I just don't need this, man. I more on that in just a bit. More on that. And yeah, you heard it, right? TMI says no. Yes, it was weird. Yes, no, nope. Okay. All right. Yes. Yes, I heard it. Thump, knock. No, it was more like a growl. It sounded like a growl. Now I'm freaking myself out. Sounded like a growl. All right. Schrader's on the show. I'm just going to freak myself out tonight. All right. Let's get to the breaking news. A new study. Now, I love doing the breaking news with you guys because, first off, I know it's great because I have Renee. Renee is absolutely amazing. And the second thing, Renee sends me like 30 news stories. I could do the whole show with what Renee sends me every day. And I just go, oh, man, that's amazing. That's amazing. And so I got 30. Now I got to get out of 30 amazing things that she sends me. She is so good at it. She's inside my head. Now I've got to, by the time I get it down to 3, 4, 5 breaking news stories, it's the best. Like this. Are you ready? A new study has shown that astronauts' blood does experience DNA mutations due to space flight. The study, published in Communications Biology in August, looked at the blood taken from 14 astronauts in NASA's Space Shuttle program, right, over time. The researchers noted several DNA mutations in blood-forming stem cells compared to the blood taken previously to their space flight. They compared the samples to the astronauts' current blood spectrum, and they started finding the mutations in the DNA. Altogether, they discovered 34 non-synonymous mutations in 17 CH driver genes. They say that the presence of these small clones in the blood requires further inspection and investigation. You think? I mean, what? Yeah. All right. Now, this news broke. It went all over the web today, but I'm going to share it with you. It's pretty incredible because a 31,000-year-old skeleton of a young adult found in a cave in Borneo that is missing its left foot and part of its left leg revealed the oldest known evidence of an amputation, of surgery. All of this, according to a new study. Scientists say the amputation was performed when the person was a child and that the patient went on to live for years as an amputee. The prehistoric surgery could show that humans were making medical advances much earlier than previously thought, you think? And according to the study published Wednesday, all in the journal Nature. That's incredible. A new discovery suggests that there's a joke there, right? 31,000 years ago, in your city, and you got this thing going on, infection, whatever, and some genius in the tribe steps up and says, man, we got to take your leg off. What? No drugs. They don't even know what to bite down on because nobody's done it yet. And what are they going to use to cut off your limb? What are they going to use? They don't have surgical steel, I don't think. I mean, we're going to use this mammoth husk. It's crazy. Just crazy. And went on to live, by the way. All right. A new discovery suggests that the red supergiant Betelgeuse, the star that you see every night in the sky, was actually yellow just 2,000 years ago. Using historical depictions and descriptions of Betelgeuse throughout the ages, scientists have been able to pinpoint roughly when the supergiant star got its red coloration. The team found that the star, located in the Orion constellation in the Milky Way, around 640 light years from Earth, changed from yellow-orange color to red approximately 2,000 years ago. Now, one of the sources used by the team was Chinese court astronomer Sima Qian, who wrote about star colors in 100 BC. And he commented, quote, white is like Sirius, red is like Antares, yellow like Beetlejuice, and blue like Bellatrix. Moving forward 100 years in history, year zero, a Roman scholar, hygienist, said, hygienist. I'm going to let that go. A Roman scholar wrote that Betelgeuse was similar in color to Saturn, suggesting that at that time the star was also yellow. And 100 years after that, 100 AD, astronomer Ptolemy compared Betelgeuse to other stars, distinguishing it from red-colored bright stars like Antares, a red supergiant around 700 times the size of our sun, whose very name in Greek means like Mars. There you go. Well, a pair of rocky planets slightly larger than Earth that closely orbit a dim red dwarf star seem habitable. That's right. And one of them appears to be the second most habitable exoplanet discovered so far. This is big, huge breaking news. The planets are called LP 899b, which has been spotted before, but we knew very little about it, and LP 899c, or Speculus 2c. Now, only a few details are known about Speculus 2c, beyond its size and its 8 days that it takes to orbit its star. But LP 890-9, or Speculus 2, but Amari Triad of the University of Birmingham, UK, and his colleagues who have spotted it hope the James Webb Space Telescope might tell us more about whether it has an atmosphere and what it contains. The team estimates that it appears to be the second most habitable planet discovered so far after TRAPPIST 1e. This is big news. Let's get the show cracking. On this day in history, OTD, 1996, sad day. Tupac Shakur is shot several times in Las Vegas, Nevada, after attending the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon boxing match. He died in a hospital several days later on this day in 1996, still unsolved. Fader fact. All right, now here you go. Now listen to me. A duel between three people is called a truel. You didn't know that, did you? Yeah, and they're real. In the movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, there was a truel at the end of the movie among the three main characters, Blondie, the good, Angel Eyes, the bad, and Tuco, the ugly. And that is your fader fact. In a typical truel, this is what I understand. You have the three people that have signed up for the truel. You have a pistol, and everybody has one shot. That's it. And typically, you're shooting the person to your left, and then it goes around the corner. So that's it. And then you take your shot. That's crazy. I didn't know. I didn't know until today. A truel. There you go. All right. Tonight, Dave Schrader is here talking about his new TV series. It's actually amazing. I expected that. It's Dave Schrader, but it's called The Ghosts of Devil's Perch, and it's on Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. So just go and peep it out. I don't know how many episodes are in the season. I'm up to episode 3, and Dave was just telling me before the show that new episodes air on Sundays. All right, so we'll get to all of that tonight with Dave Schrader, but right now I'm going to hit this River Moon coffee. Fade to Black blend. RiverMoonWellness.com. Go Backley Tappy. Oh, man, that's good coffee. River Moon's links are below. It's the best coffee in the world. If you're a coffee drinker like me, that's why you're here. That's why you're here. You're a coffee drinker. That's why I do this show. Everybody here, we're all together. We all like the rock and roll. We all like the UFOs, the aliens, the big feet, right? We like all of those things. Food and coffee. All right. Tomorrow night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. So tonight, Dave Schrader's on the show with us. And we're going to be talking about ghosts tonight with Dave. But I want to share this with you. We all know I live in a haunted house. I have not hidden this fact from you. I've been very open about it. And me and whatever is here, we just kind of get along. All right. And you just got to deal with it. I'm not going anywhere. So you just kind of got to deal with it. And so Saturday, I had Jordan Ziff over at the house. And he got here in the early afternoon, like about 2:00. And we played guitar all day, just sitting, trading riffs and goofing around and eating and doing our thing. It was an amazing day. Sometime in the evening, okay, it was dark outside. So I'm going to say 9:00, 10:00 or so. This is what happens. No, it was early. It's probably 9:00. But we're sitting right here. I'm sitting in this chair. I had the arms folded up like this and got my guitar out. I'm facing Jordan's here. He's sitting on a chair there. And we're playing. We got the drum machine going. See, look, watch. Oh, wait. Sorry. Got a drum machine here, plays bass pattern. You know, and it's a great time. And then we hear this. Boom, boom. Now, the sound, and it was loud, was kind of like, you know, when you've got a refrigerator on a dolly and you're rolling it downstairs, ka-chunk, ka-chunk, you know, that it was loud like that. Kunk, kunk. And we both look at each other and stop the drum machine, and then it happens again. Thump, thump, loud. And Jordan, he takes his guitar off and he's running out of the bunker. And I take my guitar off and I follow him. And we go out to see what it was. And my house is I'm a bit of a neat freak. Everything is in its place, you know? And so you're going to see if something is out of place. You just look around and everything's normal. And we don't see anything, don't hear anything. And then we're both confused. And it just sounded like, you know, it's just right. It was loud. So I go out the front door and I'm like, he's freaking out. I'm freaking out, but I can't have him freak out. And I go, oh, I just heard it again. He goes, you did? I go, yeah, it's fireworks. I couldn't believe that came out of my mouth. That's what I said. And he goes, fireworks? I go, yeah, from over the hill. And I'm serious. He didn't contest, but he looked at me like, Church, you are full of crap. Right? But he didn't say it. He didn't, you know, and he just kind of bought it. It was a gaggle of gorillas, whatever. It was just like the most stupidest thing that could. But I just said what I said, and we stood out there for a minute. There was nothing else. There were no fireworks, and we walked back in the house, and we're both freaked out, and shut the door. And we come back in here, nothing for the rest of the night. And I can't, and here's the thing. When, you know, we've got Dave on the show tonight, and I realize that this stuff, you know, it kind of goes on, and I've just accepted it. And I think that a lot of people do. I really do. If you're hearing stuff in your house and it happens over and over again and there's nothing you can really do about it, you're not going to be calling Ghostbusters. You're just going to write it out and deal with it. And that is what I've chosen to do. Jordan got to hear it himself. And I saw his reaction. And as a matter of fact, I think he was going to kick some butt. But he dashed right out of here. And I guess it was weird. I tried to calm him down. We could have gone the other direction with this. And this is the reason why I'm sharing this with you. We could have stopped what we were doing. We could have stopped playing guitar. We could have stopped the day that we were having and gone on a ghost hunt and tried to figure things out and walked around the house and you know what? No. It would have killed the mood and we were in the zone, playing guitar and stuff. And I didn't want to go there. I don't want to figure it out. I'm trying to live with it. But to have somebody here with you when it goes down, that's the part where it's like, it's not my imagination, and that's it. You can reach out to Jordan on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and go, so Church told us the story of the thumps when you guys were playing guitar. Did that really happen? Go for it. Yeah, man, it was a trip. And that's what tonight's show is all about. We've got Dave Schrader here, and the new season of Ghost of Devil's Perch is out. The first 3 episodes are there. It airs on Sunday nights, and this is a good one. And it's not going to be what you expect. I mean, I don't know where this is going, but where it has started and what has unfolded so far, I didn't expect any of this. It's a tremendous series. So go and check that out. Dave will be here right after this short break. I am your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer and UnX networks. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, Dave Schrader. Tomorrow night, it's open lines all night long. All right. I'll be right back after this short break with Dave Schrader. Stay right there.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Hello, Fadernauts. Jimmy Church here. You've seen me with my thunderstorm. Now you can purify the air in your home and get healthy, clean, fresh-smelling air and eliminate odors just like I do right here in the bunker. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm uses oxy technology that naturally sends out O3 molecules into the air, which seek out odors and air pollutants in your home and destroys them. It's called a thunderstorm because it purifies the air just like after a thunderstorm. And right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. With this special offer, you're getting 3 units for under $200. Seriously. Go to EdenPureDeals.com and use Fader3. Shipping is free and it's easy. Just scroll down. You'll see my name right there, Jimmy Church. Click on it and get your deal today. That's EdenPureDeals.com.
Do you have an interest in the paranormal? Then you'll love the UnXNetwork.com. The X is your streaming audio and video for everything supernatural, strange, and mysterious, like UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts, and so much more. From hosts like Jimmy Church, Whitley Strieber, Micah Hanks, and Christina Gomez. Visit the UnXNetwork.com show page for a complete list of all the paranormal programs you'll find on the X. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for updates at KUNXDB. Follow our Facebook group, UnX Network. Find the podcast on Spotify, iHeart, Audible, and Apple Podcast. It's time. It's new. It's the X.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Manson. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dave Schrader. Dave is with us, Darkness Dave. All right, Dave Schrader. Tonight, we're going to be talking about his new series. It's on Travel Discovery Plus, Ghost of Devil's Perch. He's former host of the long-running paranormal talk radio show, Darkness Radio, the lead investigator on the paranormal-themed Travel Channel series, The Holzer Files. 2 seasons there, amazing. February of this year, he launched the Paranormal 60 with Dave Schrader. I am addicted to the Paranormal 60, by the way, and it's pretty amazing. So you need to go and check all of that out. You can just go to darknessradio.com. Everything is right there because since an early age, he's been surrounded by the strange, and it follows him, including this new TV series, man. Some stuff goes down. He does it. He pushes it. He wants to find out. He doesn't take things lightly, right? He pushes the limits by investigating them himself, all of this paranormal activity, visiting some of the most active and haunted locations in the world. And right now, it's where he is at here in the United States. He does not hunt the paranormal. And apparently in this series, it's hunting him. I'm going to just get straight to it, Dave. Congratulations, amazing series. And I haven't texted from my bed with a grown man at night in my entire life. But that was a lot of fun last night, my man.
Well, I'm glad we're able to have those brief moments together, Jimmy, that will cement our friendship in ways I never expected.
Yeah, a couple of nights ago, everybody, I'm in bed. And it's late, too, by the way. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. Dave, are you up? I'm like, oh, man, do I respond to this right now? It's Dave. Yeah, what's going on? And, dude, we were texting for 30 minutes at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, there you go.
It's keeping in touch. It's knowing that your buddy's always up late because that's what we are. We're late night guys.
Yeah, we and always have been. And it's, you know what, our friendship, dude, it means so much to me. And we've gone through so much together over the years. And I mean, at some
That's why
point,
I got this Jimmy Church tattoo right over my heart.
I can't wait. One day we're going to be knocking back beers somewhere going, dude, do you remember that? Do you remember that week? It's going to be a lot of fun. And
if we remember it, shame on us.
Yeah, I know, right. But I was just a couple of things. And for some reason right now, underwear is the topic, not ghost, in the chat room right now, if you're watching this. Boxers or briefs? Where do you go?
I am a hybrid guy. I like my boxer briefs, to be honest with you.
I'm a boxer brief guy myself. Yeah. Actually, it's not boxers or briefs anymore. You're right. You've got to go to C and D. There's a couple of other categories there. Yeah. So I'm a boxer briefs guy too as well. I think that comes with age. It helps hold it in. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Because in one of the episodes, I think I got a glimpse of your underwear. And I want to, I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Spoiler alert here.
My underwear? We're going to talk about my underwear, Jim? Really?
Yeah. And because I watched all 3 episodes that are currently out. It's airing on new episodes on Sundays. So I got the first 3 episodes out of the way, specifically without giving away stuff because there's way too much stuff going on. I'm going to bring up a few specific things that were absolutely mind-blowing.
Sure.
But I'll say this, man. That is nonstop action in each episode. I mean, that's like cut. Holy smokes, right? And I can't. How do I say this? I couldn't spend 2 or 3 episodes, breaking down everything that happened. There's too much going on. So everybody that goes in and watches it is going to understand what I'm trying to express here, my feelings with this. But there were a few key moments. But now let's back up. Okay. The title of the show, I didn't understand, which is cool. I didn't know what the show was about, so I get to go in blind, right? But Devil's Perch. Let's start there. What is Devil's Perch?
Well, let's start at the beginning just to kind of catch your listeners up.
Oh,
this is actually
okay.
No, this is actually the 4th season of the Ghosts of series. Season 1 and 2 were Ghosts of Shepherdstown with Nick Roth, formerly of Ghost Adventures, and Elizabeth Saint.
Yep.
Then season 3 was Ghosts of Morgan City, and that was in Louisiana, and it was Ben Hansen, who a lot of people recognize from a lot of the UFO shows and documentaries, medium Sarah Lemos, and Jeremy Leonard, the Cajun demonologist, and K.D. Stafford, the mad scientist of the paranormal. He's a guy that builds a lot of the different equipment that they use on the show. And season 4 now is Ghosts of Devil's Perch. And each one of the seasons behind this was the fact that a local city in different states had reached out to paranormal investigators. And in the first case, it was Nick Roth and Elizabeth Saint, because they had an uptick in strange paranormal activity in their area. That was something that the police were not capable of handling because that's not their forte.
Right.
So they went out and investigated. Well, when they did that and they saw the respect that the show was showing towards these town and the people and the history, Morgan City reached out. And then after Morgan City, about 20 other cities around the United States reached out for help. And Butte was one of the first ones. So they connected with it. And we went to Butte, Montana for the series. Cindy Keza and I were featured on the TV show The Holzer Files. And we rolled over onto this series with K.D. Stafford, who was on Ghost of Morgan City. And now we are in the town of Butte because Sheriff Lester and the mayor, J.P. Gallagher, were dealing with an uptick in strange supernatural activity. And they're refurbishing the town. They're really trying to put a new face on it, upgrade the buildings, clean everything up. And I think that's part of what's stirring the pot going on there with the supernatural. And we went in to see if we could maybe dig deeper, give them some answers, and try to help the people that were coming up against strange activity.
Now, it's a really cool introduction to the show to have the mayor, right?
Right.
Your head of law enforcement going, dude, the entire city has got an issue.
Right.
We need help. This isn't a house, right? This isn't a sanitarium.
Right.
This isn't a prison. The whole city has run amok. And that was, and the concern, and I know it's television, right? But I'm not so sure that television put the look on that mayor's face when he's got to tell, he's running a town, and he's got to reach out to you guys because there was something going on. That's pretty wild. And I mean, what's next? It's the mayor of New York on the line. Where you've got
dogs and cats living together. It's pure chaos and anarchy.
Yes,
we could only hope that. Yeah.
Now, okay. Can I ask a question? And this is just for me.
What would you do if I said no? Then where would you be?
I'm going to push it. I'm going to get it out of you. Whose RV is that?
Well, we wanted to blend. So they sent me out. They sent me out to find a vehicle, and the RV has been a big thing in a lot of the other series. So I went out and I found this RV. Maybe I'm not a gearhead. I'm not a car guy, but I had a good deal on this RV, so we rented it.
You did get a good deal on the RV, no doubt.
Oh, I don't know that we did, but we got it, and it is quite a character in itself. This RV. I wanted to blend in because we've got a lot of equipment that we carry around with us, and we didn't want to be in these slick black SUVs and rolling up in this little town, this kind of Mayberry town with it felt weird. So we got this RV that we could kind of hide in plain sight while we were doing what we were doing. I don't know if that'll work if we go back for a second season. People will know what we're doing, but
in my best Marissa Tomei, you blend.
Yeah. Oh, I blend. Yeah.
Yeah, you blend.
But that thing was scarier than most of the Paranormal Activity because sometimes the brakes didn't want to work, Jimmy. And as you're driving, you've got what they call the camera car in front of you. So as you're driving, they have somebody sitting in the back filming you through the windshield. As we're heading there. And all of a sudden we'd come up over a crest and start going downhill, and a red light would turn on. And they had to cut away because there are scenes where as I'm approaching that car, I'm literally standing on the brake in the RV, and the car's just, and we would stop within millimeters of the bumper of the camera car in front of us sometimes. So halfway down, you're just seeing this stressed look on my face, eyebrows arched, teeth clenched, sweat on our brows, and we would barely make it every time. So I think if we go back, we're going to have to insist that they do some work on the brakes.
Man, I got to say, man, the RV is the fifth Beatle here.
It certainly is.
It is a character on the show. I just had to ask, man. And
it's a classic. It's like late 70s, early 80s, shag carpet inside, the Formica everywhere. It's amazing. And and then they're like, you cannot use the bathroom. Okay. Fair enough. None of us want to anyway, because we're in a very small camper, and the last thing we want to do is, be working on evidence and a foot away from somebody having a moment. So it was just very, it's a cool little vehicle to drive around in, and we got some cool custom plates for it. And
dude, it was
a great time. Yeah,
it's totally awesome. I'm very, very impressed with that. And every time you guys go and get in that camper, I'm like, man, God bless Dave Schrader. Got that RV in this show. This is just totally cool. So, okay. Is that entire city haunted? I mean, there is, I keep going back to like Ghostbusters or something like that, where every time you turn around, there's something else and something else. But it's multiple locations.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be all over the place. And the Paranormal Activity, which is all caught on tape, and there are some pretty incredible moments, and we're going to get to some of this, including things that happened to you personally. But it appears that the haunting that is happening there, whatever it may be, doesn't really have any boundaries.
No. And, having done episodes of Ghost Adventures, Paranormal State, Paranormal Challenge, you go to a location. Usually that's like the big haunt in town. And maybe there's a few little things that happen. going into Butte, you can just sense it. You got to realize this place has got a bloody long history. You know, it was a mining town, so there were tragedies that befell the miners, plus all the black lung I'm sure they got from digging in these mines and oring the silver and copper from them. And
the crime, the lawless,
prostitution. You know, it was a crazy place, and it was built on the blood, sweat, and tears of many, many people, not just the copper kings and the names of fame. And I think that's why these spirits are so upended, you know, as Butte is trying to enter a new era and kind of clean up and modernizing a lot of these places. I think the spirits are fearful that they're just going to be forgotten about. So with the refurbishing and all of that going on, plus, you know, some other activity, it certainly lent itself to a bunch of very strange activity. And we would go into one place, and then, you know, neighbors would come over and, hey, we got something too, you know, and in episode 2, the Cabbage Patch episode, I had something happen to me, and
let's come back to that. Okay.
Well, I was just going to say, when I was in the hospital,
yes,
doctors and nurses would come in, and they're like, "Hey, are you one of those guys filming the ghost show?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they all had stories.
They have to
inside the hospital, from their homes, their childhood homes, their girlfriend or boyfriend's homes. Everybody has a story in Butte. It's crazy how active it is.
Now, I'm going to talk about Cindy Casa for a second. She was the subject of one of my texts last night to Dave. And she is so sensitive. Now, I've talked to you. We have talked about her many times. She's just very, very impressive. But when you go into, again, this isn't, you know, a singular thing. We're talking about the entire town. How overwhelming, first off, how did you find her, and how great is she? Because to me, she's just very impressive with her abilities.
So first of all, I think synchronicity was at play. She was the first one hired on the Holzer Files, and then they brought me in. And while we were doing our little, they call it a chemistry test, where they're, you know, we're sitting there talking on Zoom and kind of going back and forth on ideas and thoughts. We just got along, and then the lady running it goes, "By the way, Dave, for the paperwork, I need to know your birthday." And I said, "It's November 22nd. She's like, "Oh, my birthday's November 22nd. So we had that kind of cool simpatico moment. And I just took this into, you know, she's like a little sister to me. I adore her. She's amazingly talented. And she can do so many different aspects of mediumship, and she displays them, from spirit art to automatic writing to channeling, which she really tries not to let happen, to, you know, just straight up mediumship and psychometry and everything. So she's really, really into it. But coming into a place like Butte, it is rough, because there's no real place you can go to just kind of decompress. So she was, I don't want to say overwhelmed, because it sounds like she's not in control, but it is an overwhelming sense there. And even for somebody like myself, who's not a medium or sensitive, you just go in, you could feel the heaviness in a lot of locations.
Yeah.
And she's got 200 years of stories and history piled on top of each other. So she's just walking into one Stephen King novel after another, you know, 600 pages. Yeah.
And is she able to handle it? I mean, on camera she does, and things, but it's got to be at one point or another, you know, my heart rate is just like, you know, is it something that she can control when
she does. She does very. Yeah. She's trained her whole life for this, and she knows what she's doing. It doesn't mean there aren't times that she feels like whatever's there is a little too powerful. And she's, as you saw, you know, in I think 2 episodes of the Holzer Files, she had to recuse herself of the moment and situation. And in the most recent episode at the Hennessy Mansion of Ghosts of Devil's Perch on Travel Channel and Discovery Plus every Sunday, she had to pull herself out because something there was very oppressive and dark. And she didn't even want KD and I in there, but I mean, we're there to help the city. We're there to help people and the spirits. So she understood this is something, because of my position and what I'm doing, it's overload and something is screwing with me. So I've got to step out, which is tough, right? For somebody who loves to be able to help, she had to take that step back. And then Katie and I did our thing.
Yeah. And I want to talk about Katie next.
Mm-hmm.
It appears to me that Cindy can have the mouth of a sailor at points. And do you have to bleep her? I'm only saying this because there are moments where she's like, "I'm not going in there,"
right?
You know, that you know, and
right. We all do. Yeah, all of us are cursors, and they say don't censor yourself. Be in the moment. Don't worry about, because in Holzer Files, I'd be like, oh gosh, and it would stop that moment of excitement, and they're like, gosh, and I'm like, well, I didn't want to say, and they're like, dude, if that's what you're feeling, say it. We can beep it,
right?
Because all of a sudden you going, oh gosh, just looks ridiculous on TV.
Gee whiz, that was crazy.
And she's not often thrown by what takes place. So when she does it, it's genuinely a holy beep moment.
Yes. Yeah. She's amazing. And now Katie, again, extremely impressive. I know he's been working on the series, but what's it like to work with somebody that is as dedicated, and he makes that equipment hum? He really gets that stuff to be pretty effective.
I worked 3 months solid with Katie. I don't know much about him. He's a very solitary guy. He's an Afghani and Iraqi war vet, and had to deal with a lot, and it affects and impacts him. And he is very solitary in a lot of ways. And when he was there, he was very focused on creating new technology or bettering the technology he had. When Holzer Files was on, Shane and I spent a lot of downtime together. We were out exploring together. We were doing stuff together. Katie was the kind of guy who just gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning and walks up a mountain just to go sit and watch the sun. But he'd do it on his own. So I don't know much about KD, which, lends a kind of an air of mystery to him as well. And when he's working, he's so hyper focused. It's not like you can go down and carry on a conversation. And, where during downtime, I might be up with the crew watching football. KD would literally come from the hotel and just go straight to the bat cave and start working on whatever experiment he had going on. And that was his focus. So I give him a lot of credit because he's hyper focused. And I think that's why he gets such great results. Plus he is in creating this equipment, he is bonding with it in a way. I think that's, almost like psychically bonding with it, giving a way for what he's getting to be heard and shared with us. So he gets, and he sells that equipment as well. So it's not like, well, how do we know? You could buy the equipment and it works for you too, so it's really kind of fascinating. Good guy, stand-up guy. I wish I had more stories to share. We didn't, we I think had dinner twice together in 3 months. That wasn't like a cast dinner at some little buffet table there. But it was just, he's a very big loner.
Yeah, there were a couple of moments, and we'll pick up on this when we come back. But his reaction to the water faucet. Okay, now here's the deal with that, because I jumped out of my skin. Okay, first off, when that happened, you and Cindy are standing there. You got your couple of camera people. You're all packed in this bathroom. And we all know how that is, right? And so you guys are all packed in there, and you guys are focused on something else. And then that water faucet turned on the backside of the room, and it was Katie that was closest to it, saw it, heard it, and reacted. And you and Cindy, in your reaction, that's one thing. But Katie was, you know what I mean? He was right there.
Right. And it shocked him.
It shocked, for somebody that is so, how do I say this? He comes off scientific, pragmatic.
Right.
Is the right.
Very pragmatic. Yeah.
Yeah. And he jumped, man. And then I jumped, and then everybody jumped. What did you make of his reaction?
There are different things. Like Cindy hears voices, the ghosts speak to her all the time, but when she hears an EVP out loud, it's unsettling to her. When we hear direct voice phenomena, or what's even scarier for her sometimes is that Katie and I will be standing there and we hear something and she's like, I didn't hear a thing. What? And we're like, and we play it back and the audio's there. So it's like she's so psychically attuned, she's not hearing with her ears, she's hearing with her mind and that. And then KD is so scientifically based. Oh, the lights are flickering. Oh, this is an old building. I don't know if it's this. So he's not as easy. But when all of a sudden a water faucet just turns on in full blast as we're standing there and nobody's near it, that kind of defies the logic of the moment and where we're at. You can't just say, what the hell? How did that just turn on? He can't bluff it away with, well, maybe it's an old light bulb, maybe it's a bad setting. This thing just turned on and started pouring water. And right at the moment, we kind of tried to give Van Zandt clarity, let it go. And then we find out that, that James A. Murray actually, once he was done with the Bluebird mine that he stole from underneath Van Zandt, flooded it. And then it's, you're like, wow, that's so many layers to what just took place. So sometimes it's the stuff like that I love the reactions. And, we're standing on the other side and I got this laser light in front of me and the smoke. And I'm like, what is that? I couldn't tell what happened. And he's like, the water turned on. And he's genuinely shocked.
Yeah. And I was doing what you were doing. I was looking at the lasers. I'm looking at the smoke. I'm looking at the show. I'm hoping for somebody to come up, right? Out of the smoke. And the faucet just turns on. That was really, you know what? And that's one of like 50 things in each episode. And that's not even the craziest thing that happened in that episode. Let's circle back. We'll pick up where we are leaving off right now. I'm going to take a quick break. Our guest tonight, Dave Schrader. We're talking about his new series. It's out right now. The Ghost of Devil's Perch. It is on Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. 3 episodes out, 4th episode this Sunday. We'll be right back. More with Dave after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, VX.
Oh, Fadernauts, Jimmy Church here. You've seen me with my thunderstorm. Now you can purify the air in your home and get healthy, clean, fresh smelling air and eliminate odors just like I do right here in the bunker. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm uses oxy technology that naturally sends out O3 molecules into the air, which seek out odors and air pollutants in your home and destroys them. It's called a thunderstorm because it purifies the air just like after a thunderstorm. And right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. With this special offer, you're getting 3 units for under $200. Seriously. Go to EdenPureDeals.com and use Fader3. Shipping is free and it's easy. Just scroll down. You'll see my name right there, Jimmy Church. Click on it and get your deal today. That's EdenPureDeals.com.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. And I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can right now get your own free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dave Schrader is with us. And Dave and I hosted Coast to Coast together for 6 years at the same time. And it's great, I think, for not only the two of us to get together, but this is technically host to host. I've got to say it. I'm just going to say it. It's the elephant in the room, and I'm going to exploit that. It is host to host, and it's amazing for me, Dave, to watch this series, knowing you as well as I do, and to see this unfold. And man, I got to tell you, you're in the right position. But I want to. This is my bucket list. I've added something to my bucket list. I want to be able to take a call from a sheriff, get an address, race across town, run red lights in a 50-year-old RV. I want to be able to pull up and go, okay, we're going to do our baseline investigation.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to be able to say those words. I want to be Dave Schrader. We're going to do our baseline investigation. We'll let you know tomorrow. And
you got the key right there. You're manifesting. I've done this since I was a child. I used to practice my autograph. So someday when I would be on TV, I'd be ready to give autographs, Jimmy. So now you're finally catching up to me. Now that you've set this intention, you set this ball in motion. It only took me 40 years to get there. So in 40 years, buddy, you might be doing this.
Now 6 months. 6 months. But here's the thing. And let's focus on something that has got to be really cool for you. You've got Cindy and Katie in your back pocket. It's got to be pretty incredible to be working with these two that seem to be synchronous with the universe. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to refer to something that happens in multiple episodes. It's not just one thing, which is Cindy, who sits down with her frigging legal pad and breaks out the Sharpie, right? Mm-hmm. And she's going with her automatic writing. And she's talking about what she's seeing and feeling and channeling in, right? Okay. And she's saying names. She's giving events and speaking things out loud, right, to the camera. Mm-hmm. At the same time, Katie is outside, whatever, walking around with his spirit box or, his thing. And he's asking questions, stirring the pot, and he's getting the same names and events outside while Cindy is inside at the same time getting these same name, these things.
Right.
And you have to, as a viewer, go, okay, now where's this going? Is this a coincidence? Is this a setup? Is this not real? And if it's real, this is freaky. And then later, whatever happens, newspaper articles, somebody tells a story, or where the 3 or 4 names are revealed with the event that KD and Cindy did independently, and suddenly it's all pieced together. And for you, that's got to be, pretty amazing to know that this is what is going on.
Well, it is, but they're the Wonder Twins, and I'm just Gleep the little monkey. So I kind of miss the fact that, they can do these wondrous things, and I'm just left to get knocked to the ground and screamed at by ghosts. I would much rather, have that connection. Although I do, as you saw, I get some wicked EVP.
Yeah, you're getting ahead of your skis, young man.
I didn't say what, but we all have our little our places, but yeah, those two work very well in tandem, which really helps to corroborate each other's experience. And then, but then there are other times when we're all off and we're all picking up different aspects and elements of a story that tie together. So it's interesting how it plays out. And I give a lot of credit because, we just did on Tuesday nights, I do my podcast, The Paranormal 60, and I do a recap episode of the week for the last episode of Ghost of Devil's Perch. And then we give you a sneak peek of the next week's episode. And I just had Brian Peterson, one of our showrunners, our directors, on this episode. And I'm like, how do you do it? How do you stand with us filming 12 to 15 hours a day for 5 days a week and then put it into a 42-minute format that makes sense and follows a through narrative? Because it's all there. It's so big and overwhelming while we're filming it. I can't see it. And he said, yeah, you got to have your editor and director's hat on. And you're like, oh my God, this moment is crazy. So he'll jot it down. And then that tied in with what we know about that. And then the next day when we're talking to the historian and he gives us that, boom, okay, that matches that. So he kind of is working 14 Rubik's cubes at once to put together one giant cube that makes sense. And I give them a lot of credit because that's a lot of tough work. But it's fascinating to just sit back and watch the process. So I don't worry about what I can and can't do. I focus on the history. I focus on hopefully making a connection with the experiencers in my interview process, putting them at ease, even when I'm not at times, trying to make them comfortable in their home or their business or work environment. Mm-hmm. And then we do our other work. So we all come in at it in different ways to try to yield the best response and help the spirits, help the living, and try to heal Butte.
How when this synchronicity is going down between Cindy and KD, how does that start to compute? What do you think is going on?
Again, I'm baffled by how the whole process works, because Cindy's picking up, and she's like I said, we're throwing her in the middle of a Stephen King novel, right? Yeah. 600 pages deep. Each page is a different year in history, or a different day in history, and she's got to sift through them to what spirit is speaking the loudest. And KD is remaining open and just asking base questions, and the box is giving him the response, or the piece of equipment is giving us a visual of what he's able to see. So it's kind of multi-layered in the way this thing takes place. I'm always astounded by it. But here's the funny thing, Jimmy. We talk after these moments, but none of us have seen all the pieces. I haven't seen what Katie actually caught or what Cindy was picking up on until we watched the final episode. Mm-hmm. I know from what they're saying, but they will download me, with 3 hours worth of information. KD will download me with 3 hours of what his experience was like. I'll download them with what my experience was like. But none of us know until that episode airs on Sunday what the final result is, how they were able to pair it together and put all of our stories into one cohesive tale. So it's exciting for me because, like you guys, I get to watch along and be like, oh my God, he's getting at that. Oh my God. Right. And and then when you're watching it, and I know what happened to me in one episode, and then he's asking a question, and my name comes out of the spirit box.
Right.
That's crazy. That's just that. Those are the kind of moments that it's like, this is fascinating to me how this all lines up and works together.
Katie over in the UK just dropped 5 pounds British sterling to let you know that you're a legend. So there you go. It's right there.
Thank you, Katie. I just met Katie out at Bobby Mackey's. She was out
Oh.
at Bobby Mackey's Music World for the G Crew meeting with Nick Groff and Chad Lindbergh and Josh Hurd, myself, Shane Pittman. We were all on hand to kind of do a fun little meet and greet. So Katie came all the way from the UK for like 3 days to be a part of this event. So Katie, great to meet you, and thank you for the love and support and watching us over in the UK. If you are listening or watching this podcast, we're on the Really channel and we're on Discovery Plus UK. We're now in Canada on Detour, and soon I believe we will be in Australia in October. And different networks around the world are picking us up. So hopefully all of you will get a chance to watch this at some point.
Now, let me. There's so many things that I want to bring up. I'm just trying to hold back, but there's things. There's things that I just can't let go. You brought up the EVPs. Now, I've done my EVP sessions. It's fun to do. I think that the first time you play, you do an EVP and you're playing it back on the recorder and you hear something. The first time, it's a pretty freaky experience, right?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing going on, right? You know that you're here. You're the one doing it. And then when you hear it come back, that is a bizarre experience. And I've done many EVP shows like you have. The EVPs in the Ghost of Devil's Perch may be the best I've ever heard. And I've heard a lot, and so have you. What's going on here?
I'm a firm believer. I won't turn in EVP. I get a lot more EVP than what you hear on the episode. But if it's not really clear to me, I don't mess with it. Like a lot of guys will take it, they dump it into a system, they go and they clean it and they take out the pop and they take out and it sounds so manufactured, right? Yeah. When it's done, I just figure if I play it back and I can hear it, that's good. And if I get, I'll still maybe play it, or if I get a scream, you don't need words to understand what just happened. But if I can't truthfully make it out, and sometimes it takes a few, when I filmed the episode of Holzer Files, Don't Send Them to Heaven, it was my EVP that ended up naming that episode, because we're up in this attic and I'm over on one side and I start trying to do a blessing, and all of a sudden we hear all this commotion on the other side of the attic, and my camera guy and I are the only two up there. So we go over into that side, I turn on my recorder, and then I start talking, and I'm like, you're not going to scare me out of here, blah, blah, blah. And I play it back, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? And I'm queuing it up and listening, and all of a sudden, very clearly, it just snaps in, and you can hear it go, stop, don't send them to heaven. And I held it up to the camera guy, and when it played that loud one, and I was holding it real close to my microphone, his eyes sprung open, and I go, did you hear that? And he starts nodding, and we hold it up to the camera and play it again, and you hear that, stop, don't send them to heaven. And it was like, holy crap. So I like when we can get those. And I think, I talk a lot about bonding with your equipment. I find one or two pieces I really like, and I use them and use them and use them and use them. And I think you start to create a psychic link with some of your own equipment, because I could take that same recorder, hand it to Jimmy Church, and you could push play and record and ask a question, and we get nothing. And then you hand it back to me, and I push the same record button, and I ask 3 questions, and I get a response. I think you just start to bond with this stuff, which is what KD does with his equipment and what Cindy does with her gifts. So it's just a different way of showing mediumship. I'm doing electronic mediumship with the EVP. KD is doing it in a bigger form with all the different equipment he creates, and Cindy's doing it through clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and just kind of leaning into the psychic realm.
Now, can we both agree that Herb EVP is absolutely ridiculously great.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, because again, you listen to an EVP and you think you hear it, and it was so clear. I get that EVP, and for those people that don't know, we're in the Hennessy Mansion, and there was this guy named there was a guy that lived there at one point who was hearing voices, and it pushed him to go out and attempt murder. But there was other weird things that had happened, and we play back this EVP, and it very clearly sounded like it said, "I got her, I'll get you too."
Mm-hmm.
And
Which
then the
is
next,
crazy enough. That's crazy.
yeah,
enough.
oh yeah, and
Yeah.
it was that clear. You just hear this voice kind of grumbling, "I got her, I'll get you too." And we're all kind of stunned. Again, you can see it in Cindy's face. She's not an actress, and when she gets genuinely shocked, you can't hide it on her expression. And then when we go the next day and then find out about Herb Sargent, this man that lived there for a time, complained about hearing voices, lived in room number 7. There had been a murder in room number 7. He ends up going nuts and going out to a porn shop to shoot it up and kill the guy, ends up in the tussle just shooting the guy in the shoulder and gets out, but he gets arrested. Crazy story. And then it clicks with me. I'm like, oh my God, this voice isn't saying I got her. And you play it back, and as soon as you listen, you can hear, I got Herb, I'll get you too. This thing was mocking us. It's like, if I can mess with him and push him to the end, you just keep coming. And that was chilling.
Now, for the audience, the way that this particular scene goes down, this isn't no need for a spoiler alert here or anything. I'm just speaking in context. But the way that scene goes down, Dave, I'm speaking to the audience right now. Dave has got his recorder. He's doing the EVP question and answer, and pausing, and then immediately playing back, and you're listening to it next to your ear. Was that EVP as loud as I think it was?
Yeah, it's very loud.
That is crazy, man.
It was that loud and clear. Now, when you hear it in the replay, when we do the next day, because the DVR the DR60 does not have a chip you can take out and plug in and download the sound, and it doesn't have a cord that you can transfer. It's got one of those micro mini cords, and when you plug it in and plug it into another recorder, it literally loses all the fidelity and quality. It comes through like crap. So what I do is I take the recorder and I hold it up to my phone. I use the voice recorder on the phone, and I push record, and then I push play. So that way I'm getting it as clear as I can from the speaker directly off of the DR60 directly into my high functioning microphone on my phone. And then I can boost the volume, and it doesn't blow out as bad. So that's usually you'll hear the final version. They'll plug that in so that you don't hear the, quieter version coming from the DR60, whose speaker is about the size of a nickel. Right. They'll play the cleaner version. Not that I've cleaned it up, but I mean the bolder version that I've recorded onto my phone. But it's all the same audio. It's the same thing. It's just trying to take it from the little recorder and making sure that you can hear it and expand on it.
Now, as far as EVP goes, EVPs plural, I'm putting that at the top. I'm putting that at the top tier of things that I've heard in the past. It's right there, Dave. That was remarkable. It's not, and I hope that you regard it the same way too, because that, ooh, man. But it's not the only time that this happens in the show. Your EVPs, now there may be ones that I haven't heard, but the ones in the show, their clarity and the speed of the answer, right? The answer,
response,
right there.
Sure.
Yeah, the response, the answer is it's incredible, man. Is that Butte or is that Dave Schrader? Can you do that everywhere?
I've tried. Here's a funny story, and I think I gave you the audio a year or two ago when I was talking about my DR60. I got the DR60 from a friend who is no longer into ghost hunting, and she was willing to just let me use it as long as I'm going to be doing TV. She's like, do it, and then when you're done doing TV, send it back to me. very lovely friend of mine, and she sends me this, and I've read up all the problems, all of what people say it's really doing, which is it's not shielded properly, so you're getting what's word I'm looking for? You're getting stray radio frequency.
Yes.
And then they're saying it's also just picking up the recording of the internal. Well, it's not an old analog recorder. There's nothing going that would be picked up, so it makes no sense. So I figure I'm in a brand new hotel, not known to be haunted, and this was in Philadelphia or something, and I get the recorder and I'm in my hotel room, and the hotel literally just opened like 3 months ago. So I hit record and I'm like, "Hi, my name is Dave. Is there anybody here that would like to communicate?" And I rewind it and play it back, and I go, "Hi, my name is Dave," and you hear this voice go, "Hi, Dave," and I was like, "What?" And I call Shane down to my room, and I go, "You got to hear this," and he gives me this look when I play it back. He goes, "Record another one," and I'm like, "Are you questioning me?" He goes, "Dude, there's no way that's real." I go, "Okay," so in front of him, I go, "All right, I heard you say my name. Can you say my name again? Can you say Dave?" And I play it back for him, and you hear me say, "Can you say my name? Can you say Dave?" And you just hear this thing go, and it starts laughing at me. And Shane's like, "What the hell? I'm not staying in your room." And he's down the hall. So we were just having those moments. It's crazy. And we get these great EVP from it. So I don't know what it is about it. And people have tried to take it apart to look at it. And you can rebuild a recorder to have the exact same specifics, but you don't know what the board has on it, what they planted onto the board. So I don't know what makes it so sensitive to the ability to record on it, but I'm just excited to have it, and I'll use it. But like I said, I do get a lot of EVP that we don't show on the episode because it's B or C level, and you might hear something, but it's pretty speculative. I want to be able to hear in that one, right? I got her, but I'll get you too. That there's no denying what the hell that's.
That was crazy, man.
So let's play that, right? And I've always been of the mind other shows can play their EVP and tell you what it says, and you can listen to it and go, "I don't hear that, but I hear something else."
Yeah, you're interpreting, and you're also getting a suggestion, and so therefore, you're going to hear what has been suggested to you. Not in that EVP.
No,
you can't make it be something else. Rick Roberts just dropped $5 because he said so. He never
called Devil's Perch.
What is Devil's Perch? And you know what, Dave? Rick is right. Dave, what is Devil's Perch? Why the name Devil's Perch?
The Devil's Perch is kind of a throwaway line in a book talking about Butte because the miners dug so deep that they dug past hell was kind of the concept, that they dug so deep that the devil had to sit on a perch to watch them work. There's also kind of history around the concept that Devil's Perches are near brothels, and half of Butte at the time was brothels. Like literally there were blocks of brothels that were working 24-hour shifts. Every pay version you could find, from the upper floor high tier Julia Roberts hookers to the lower basement floor where the women look like me. So, all in between. So there was an affordable fund for whoever came in there. And those ran 24-hour shifts, just like the miners did. So the Devil's Perch is kind of the devil's overlooking all this vice and pornography and sex and gambling and violence and greed. So that's kind of the two different variations of why it's called the Devil's Perch. And Lord love him. I love Ian Punnett when he had me on Coast to Coast a couple of weeks ago. He goes, "I got to ask you, what a fascinating name. The ghosts on the Devil's Porch. Where does that come from?" And I'm like, "Well, I have to correct you. It's the ghosts of Devil's Perch." He goes, "Well, that's even better. Where did that come from?" So
it's kind of like a nickname for Butte, but also
I think they avoided it because Butte, B-U-T-T-E, people, they didn't want it being like Ghosts of Morgan City. That's a cool name. Ghosts of Shepherdstown's cool name. Ghosts of Butte, Montana, I think is what they thought people were going to look at it as and make fun of it. So they went with the throwaway line of Ghosts of Devil's Perch. I like it because I think that the reason Holzer Files didn't take off as quick as it did, and I think we'd still be on the air if they would have called it Holzer's Ghost Files. because viewers are quick and they're quick selection, man. And if you can't tell them in the title what it is, they don't watch. So people found us, and it grew slowly, but not enough to keep us on the air for Holzer Files. With this show, Ghosts of Devil's Perch. If you can't figure out this is a paranormal show in the title, I'm quitting TV.
Yeah. It's also a great name for a bar. If I'm in Butte, my bar is called Devil's Perch.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's open one up.
Let's do it. I'm serious too as well.
I am too. Yeah. I already know the building. I'll send you the link tomorrow.
Man, that whole place is on it. Yeah. Okay, so when we come back, we could probably do a little bit of a setup, but I truly I want to discuss you being taken down. You go to the ground, and I'm going to set it up. I don't want you to set it up. Okay. All right. Because you think you're the host of this show. It's still my show. And I am in control, Dave. But it's
nice that you think that, Jimmy, but go ahead.
When you went down and I said to myself, did Dave just go down? And I'm watching Cindy's reaction, and you're a grown man, right? And for you to be in that position and what is happening, I freaked out. And it was, nobody wants to do that. You don't do that voluntarily. That's not fun. And it's not cool. And it's not funny either. But when that went down, I knew that it was something serious. So what happened, everybody, and everything else? Well, Dave's with us tonight. So he recovered. But it was a very, very serious moment on the show. So we're going to discuss that when we come back after this short break. My guest tonight, the one and only Dave Schrader. We're talking about his new show, The Ghosts of Devil's Perch. I just got a text in from Scott Walter. He says hi. So there you go. You got that going for you. You've got
that guy.
Yeah, me too. You've got the Minnesota connection coming in. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dave Schrader. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
The Believer is the chilling true story of Dr. John Mack, a renowned Harvard psychiatrist and Pulitzer Prize winner.
This is an outreach program from the cosmos to the consciously impaired.
He risked it all to investigate human encounters with aliens. The Believer, Alien Encounters, Hard Science, and the Passion of John Mack. Written by award-winning former New York Times journalist and author Ralph Blumenthal. Now available in paperback from High Road Books.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Badernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA.
Hi, I'm Ray Sobbs, and I'm here to tell you about something I really think you're going to like. The UNX Network is a part of a larger group called UNX Media, and one of the things we offer is the quarterly UNX magazine, which is available both in print and digital formats. This amazing magazine covers all aspects of the unexplained and makes for a great coffee table periodical that is certain to spark enlightening conversations in your living rooms. We invite you to check out the latest digital issue for free. Just go to unxnetwork.com/membership and fill out your free membership with your name and email and become a new free member. The new summer issue is now available, and the theme is Time Anomalies, which includes a feature article written by our managing editor, Lee Spiegel. Just go to unxnetwork.com/memberships. That's unxnetwork.com/memberships and get your free e-copy of the UNX magazine today.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dave Schrader is with us. We're talking about the new series that he's in. It's called The Ghosts of Devil's Perch. It's on Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. The first 3 episodes are out now, new episodes on Sundays. And I'm really looking forward to episode 4. But before the break, we're talking about when you went down, Dave. It was a very serious moment. I like to, crack jokes and stuff, but this was this is a pretty serious moment. Take us through that, and what happened? What did you feel?
All right. Well, in the second episode in the Cabbage Patch, which was this former shanty town, there's just a small segment of it that they've kept for historic sake, for the purpose of being able to show people a little piece of their history. And they do a gathering there once a year with all the high school students to teach them about this part of history, which I think is phenomenal. And I love Chris Fisk, as you've seen, our historian. Love that guy. He is the town historian, loves the paranormal, loves history, loves getting it right. So I don't know about you, Jimmy, but when I went to high school, the history club was like 8 guys and maybe 2 girls, and that was it. This guy gets over 100, 150 kids that sign up for the history club.
Yeah, it's so
And
cool.
they go out and they learn. And he would take them there. Well, a couple nights before this event that they were going to do, this big overnight, Mackenzie Coe, one of his associates, was there getting the place ready for it, and something paranormal happened. And I don't want to, again, I won't give that aspect away. So our team gets called in because Mackenzie's terrified of what just happened, and we go flying in there and get there with Fisk and Mackenzie, and we're talking, and we get them to go home. We're like, Fisk, get her out of here, let her calm down. We're going to do a quick baseline. Katie wanted to run some equipment. Cindy was going to do her deal, and I was just there to kind of document it and watch and take notes. And when we were doing part of this, she started to tap into something, and I felt great all day, no problems, nothing. I'm standing in there and I'm feeling fine, and all of a sudden, Jimmy, I thought that either I just had a full-blown heart attack, or like my appendix ruptured. It felt like a bolt of lightning hit me right in the solar plexus. Boom, hit, and I went straight down to my knees. And I'm not the most agile of human beings, so to drop and hit my knees was bad enough, but I hit the knees and I could feel the pain go straight through my back. And I was screaming. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die on TV. I'm going to die while they're filming this stupid TV show, and I'm going to be one of the ghosts of the Cabbage Patch. This is all running through my head. And what's funny, when you talk about Cindy swearing like a sailor, I wish we had that unabridged audio, because she's like, Dave, oh my God, what's wrong? And then it's like 15, 20 seconds of just every iteration of F word you could imagine, because she was so freaked out and worried about me and wanting somebody to run and get the F in this and get one of those F in those and get him to the F in hospital. And it was just, I heard it all on my recorder the next day, because when I got hit, I dropped the recorder and hit the ground hard. They got me out. I got a breath of fresh air, started to feel it loosen up a little bit. And then I started to worry, because I've heard that when an appendix ruptures, it's severe lancing pain and then nothing. And that means the poison is in your system.
Right.
So I think I'm dying.
But you said something in the moment. You screamed, something popped.
Right.
And what did you feel? I take that as a genuine, at that moment, that's all that came, that's what you said.
Oh yeah. I
right?
cared nothing about the moment. I didn't care about the ghosts or the investigation. It felt like something boom popped, like something exploded. That's why I thought it was an appendicitis, or maybe even my heart just going crazy. And I was terrified. I thought, I really did honestly think I was dying. And then as I went outside and got some fresh air and I'm starting to cool down, the ambulance is there, the police are talking to me. And, again, Cindy was a big help. She, came down and kind of calmed me down. And I'm like, I don't want to go to the hospital. COVID's rampant. And these hospitals are in Montana at that time were overrun. And she goes, you might be dying. Stop being an idiot. Get in that damn ambulance. So I got in the damn ambulance and off I went to the hospital, and I stayed there until like 5 o'clock in the morning. They ran every test they possibly could on me and couldn't find anything physically wrong. As a matter of fact, they're like, a guy your age, your weight, we expected it to look like a mess. Your numbers are all perfect. You're right where you need to be in just about everything. One little thing was elevated and that was it. They couldn't figure it out. But like I said, then I had a steady stream of doctors and nurses coming into my room to tell me ghost stories, which was cool.
Right. That's a bonus. But
and then when I left, I got very emotional about it, because it was like, well, crap, if there's nothing physically wrong with me, what just happened?
And anything since then? Are you okay?
Yeah. And I got to tell you, it's really sweet. I know people know this is TV and that this didn't just happen. Like, they're not watching it like Cops live, right? But I had messages pouring in and they're like, oh my God, Dave, are you okay now? Are you still in the hospital? And I'm like, honey, I filmed this series almost a year ago. I'm fine now. I spent a night in the hospital and they sent me home. But it was just so sweet, because the concern was so overwhelming on everybody to make sure I was okay, that I had thousands of messages on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and coming into my phone. Even my daughter, Dad, are you okay? And I'm like, honey, I'm okay. I've seen you 4 times since I've been home. I felt that for about 2 to 3 days. It was like a massive muscle had pulled from my front to my back. That was it. And then it just kind of let go. Now, when I watched the episode, I could almost feel that pain again, but it was like a phantom, like a PTSD phantom memory.
Yeah. But
so that's weird.
Here's the obvious, Dave. Was this a spirit attacking you? Do you think it was a paranormal experience?
Yes. And here's why. Because as you watch the episode unfold, you find out what tragedy happened there. We didn't know about it. I didn't show back up to work for 2 days. I was just spent. I couldn't wrap my head around it. And I'm thinking, something just attacked me. I got knocked on my butt in the Holzer Files twice, split my back open in one of them. But it was kind of like this felt personal. The other ones were just kind of like a bullying tactic. This felt like it was trying to hurt me. So my initial reaction is I was attacked. I've come to now look at it as though I think I walked into a place, memory of a tragedy that took place. And I think the fear, the pain that I felt in that moment was very much tied to the death of Richard Sims and the spirit crying out to be remembered. And maybe I'm grasping at straws with that, Jim. I don't know. There was physically nothing wrong with me, and I didn't know the story. I didn't know about Richard Sims. I didn't know about him being shot in that area, and he was shot in the stomach, and I knew nothing of it. And, so to have that moment and that's there and it hurts and then it's gone and there's nothing physically wrong, I'm going to go with it was a spirit. Do I think I was attacked? I mean, yeah, it was an attack in a sense, but I think it was more along the lines of giving me a moment of history that I was able to experience. And there are mediums that will go in Holzer Files, one of the episodes, somebody had been hung from a tree that is where this house was. And as Cindy started talking to me, I'm using the thermal camera. You start to see what looks like a rope appearing around her neck.
I remember that.
She starts going, I feel like I'm choking. I can't breathe. And I go, Cindy, there is something. It looks like a rope just appeared around your neck. So mediums and psychics walk into this all the time. I have never been that open. We think it occurred going back earlier in the year when I filmed a special at the Lizzie Borden house. During the seance, I opened myself up stupidly and said, hey, use me if you want to communicate. And I was meaning like my energy. And I began automatic writing, which I fought like a demon through the whole thing. I did not want it to happen, and it freaked me out. And afterwards, Chris Fleming had meant to talk me down about it and teach me how to ground myself, and saying that now that happened, you're going to always kind of be open. I contacted Chris after this happened to me at the Cabbage Patch, and he's like, that's on me, man. I should have walked you through it. And then the next episode of this show, I'm more spiritually, emotionally attacked in a sense. And then Cindy stepped in and she really worked nicely with me behind the scenes to try to teach me how to shut down and not be that wide open, especially not knowing what I'm doing. So I don't begrudge anybody that has that ability and skill. And I certainly think if you're going to go into places like that, Cindy teaches courses on mediumship. And Jimmy, I recommend take those courses, because before you really put yourself in here and open up, understand how the tool works, understand how to work the tool and put the tool away safely before you just dive headlong into this. And I went in guns a-blazing and opened up like a clam, and boom, took the hits.
Yeah, Cindy's got the gift. She could probably teach me some things, but she's got the gift. There's no question about it. Now this may be a little sensitive, and look, everybody go and watch the show. It may not be as extreme as I'm painting here, but it appears to me that what is going on in Butte is more physical than normal. This interaction that is going on, and you don't see that. It's one thing to see a shadow figure on caught on tape, or FLIR, a REM pod going off. That's one thing. But there is, like what happened to you, there are multiple incidents here of genuine physical things and contact that are going on that are not kind. This is not a tapping on the shoulder. This is some violent interaction going on, tied to the historical side of this, which is part of fact as presented, which, like with Richard and Elaine and the shooting, that really happened.
Yes.
And the stuff with Herb, hearing the voices and him getting shot by and killed by a cop after he's got voices in his head. This is a direct physical thing. This is a negative contact experience. Have you ever gone through anything like this before to this extreme?
Well, again, with Holzer Files, I got knocked down twice pretty hard, split my back open once during that. But I also take a step back, and maybe it's the Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm in me. I try to look for the upside. If you're a ghost that's been there 100, 200 years, and people come in and, what's your name? How'd you die? What year is it? What president is it? They're asking the same questions.
Right.
It probably frustrates the ghosts. And if they've answered 100 times and nobody's done anything to help them, I think sometimes it's just pay attention. I'm going to get your attention, Dave Schrader. You're in here acting like you care. You and your partner, your pretty little partner, and she's reaching out. You want to know? I'll show you what you need to know. And I hit the ground like somebody shot me in the stomach.
Right.
So it'd be really easy to step back and say, it's a demon. It's a demon. But I don't think it was. I think it was them giving me the gift of insight, giving me that. I still have to step back sometimes and wrap my head around it. Maybe I'm fooling myself. Maybe I'm trying to comfort myself so that I don't feel so vulnerable or feel like a victim. But I really try to give the spirits empathy and understanding that if this were my grandfather or my grandmother, my mother, my father, my children, my grandchildren, whatever might have passed away there, how would I want them to be perceived? And I want to be patient because it may be a while since somebody's really heard them and really willing to interact and willing to follow through. I will give them credit on the show. At the end of episode 3, I was reduced to tears and I said, we need to get somebody in here now, somebody that's going to clear this place and get the bad stuff out and help these spirits that are in here that feel trapped and lost. And we need to do it now. And they kept it in. And I'm not the director of the show, but right. I'm screaming at the crew and cast. I'm like, this is happening. We're doing this. And they got us, we got a minister in the second episode. We got this team that comes in that deals with dark energies, and they cleared the place and did their stuff. We did prayers over it. So we take it very seriously for the spirits, and then the living are second to me. Then hopefully by placating and helping the spirits, now it's helped the humans that are there, and hopefully the interactions are better. So that's what we try to do.
There is I gotta circle back to something here. So just let me write a little quick note, and maybe I'll show you what I just wrote. So
okay,
to help me remember. In the opening scene, the young lady, the bathroom, right?
Right. Taylor.
Yeah. Well, see, it's my show. Don't have to say her name. Let people go and figure that out for themselves. Thanks.
Trying to help you. It looked like you were looking for a word, Jim. I'm trying to help. I'm a helper.
By the way, Scott Walter just texted me. I'll put this text up on the screen and show you. Scott just said, I think Dave should be the host of Fade to Black. I'm like, what's going on here? So anyway,
stay tuned, my Schrader knots. We'll be back with my coffee blend right after this.
Is when she reveals those weren't scratches on her back. Those were frigging black bear claw marks. That
Freddy
was
Krueger, man.
Dude, that was crazy.
Yes.
And that's like the opening scene. So when you see something like that, is that a little a sign of things to come, that this isn't going to be your normal little paranormal ghost hunt?
Well, that was it. Like I said, that was in the first 36 hours of being boots on the ground in Butte. I hadn't even finished fully unpacking. And we get this call, get over here, there's been an attack. And I'm like, the cops are calling us, there was an attack. And, I know what we're there for, but I'm like, spiritual paranormal attack just didn't register to me. But I'm like, do they think somebody's possessed? And we get there and hear the story, and there's fire department and EMTs and police. This is a real thing. This isn't make believe. This is crazy. And this woman's getting patched up. She's got these gouges on her back. She's in, I would almost call a state of shock. She's just very like I am. After something happens, I've just got this kind of, what just happened? What is this? And your brain's trying to process. She was very calm. Her friend was more upset, it seemed, than Taylor was at that moment.
Yes, she was actually. Well, Taylor didn't see the back. She saw a photograph of the back, but that was yeah. You're right though. She was pretty calm. Robert just said, "I want to be the first Schrader knot. I got dibs." So see what you started, my man. This is what I wrote down, and I wrote. Let me get this on the camera. Tears.
Yeah.
Okay. So what? I mean, that's it, man. You're laying yourself out there. That was very emotional. It was very heartfelt, but that type of experience going through. I don't want to say what was going on at the time, but the equipment that was being used. Let's just say that. Let's leave that to the side. Everybody can go and watch this, but after that, and I could hear it in your voice, and then you're crying. Now that's it. You're exposed to the world. How does that make you feel to know that people are seeing you in that kind of moment?
I could care less. I'm there for the experience, and if I was worried about my image, I wouldn't be wearing a bolo tie and a vest in Montana. I just do what I feel comfortable doing, and I'm putting myself in these positions. So you got to kind of take the good and the bad. And that was the most emotional experience I've ever had in my life pertaining to the paranormal. And it was much longer. I mean, again, the episode's 42 minutes. The entire experiment was almost an hour.
Right.
And it was a slow de-evolution of my sanity, if you will. And they show a couple of scenes where you see the tears starting to streak down my face, and it got to points where I was sobbing sitting there. And I think they kind of wanted to try to keep the mystique of being the lead investigator and that I can pull myself together. So they didn't show how bad it got. But again, I have no shame or fear in talking about it. I mean, it was so bad that when I finally stood up and was talking to the camera about the directors are asking what was going on. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What is this? And I explained it to them. I just kept like, it was full on churning mourning sobs. And the director just stepped out from behind the camera and embraced me. And I just threw my head on his shoulder and I shook violently, crying for a good 5 minutes. And then they got me kind of back, and Katie, who was, worked, in Afghanistan and in Iraq, and had seen some horrible things. He was very calming and never lost his touch. And, when I talked to him on my episode last week about it, he goes, it was tough because part of this is, do I pull you out of this experiment because I see how it's affecting you, or you're still sitting into it? Do I just let this play out like a National Geographic or, National Geographic photographer and see what happens? And that's what he did, is he allowed me to have this experience because it might help us understand more of what's going on. And it was really tough and very emotional. And I cried for hours that night afterwards. I got upstairs and I had to sit back down, and I just started sobbing again. Then I cleaned up and I went out, sat in the RV and started sobbing again. And Cindy sat me down, and this is why I'm here. I'm the medium. Let me do these things. Don't open yourself up like this unnecessarily. And, she was very stern, but loving. And, that's when she took it upon herself to show me what I need to do to start taking care of myself when I'm in these situations. She's not telling me don't do it, because that's counterproductive and counterintuitive to what she teaches, but don't do it without knowing what you're doing and what you're exposing yourself to. So I think people that jump into these experiments wanting to have a cheap thrill or a scary moment, they don't know what they're really asking for until they get it delivered. And when it hit me like a wall, like a tsunami. And I thought I was over it. That was a year ago. I sat here watching the episode, surrounded by my family and my friends, and I just started sobbing again, sitting there, because it was, I could feel it again. I could hear it again. I could sense it again.
Yeah, it was a genuine moment. And one for me that was so sensitive. I was a little reticent to bring it up on the show because it's such a powerful. Again, it's such a powerful moment. But to have it caught on tape and the reasons why it's there, well, you know what? It's not all fun and games. And this stuff happens, and the audience needs to see it, and they need to see the process. There was another shot. Right after the experiment ended, and you could see your eyes, right? Just like, man,
puffed up, baggy,
Dave's
bleeding tears.
Yeah, here it comes. All right. So you see that coming. But you can tell that quite a bit later, the cameras catch you. You're off by yourself on the other side of the house, and they're like secretly filming you in the crack of the door or something. And but I'm glad they caught the moment because you were by yourself and you were trying to collect your thoughts. And it was very serious, man. And yeah.
That's the one part that they miss in editing a show. They did a good job without being in my head. I wish in that scene I could have held their hand a little bit more and actually not necessarily shown more, but shown the things that I thought were a little bit more important, because again, they're doing the best they can and they're trying to preserve the integrity of their lead investigator when they're doing this.
Right.
And they don't know how, a lot of people in our field have egos. They don't want to be seen like that. Our director asked me, he goes, I don't know, is this going to play too emotional? How do you feel about this? I'm like, play it. It happened. What am I going to do? Erase a true thing that occurred just to save my own, whatever. I'll be the Michael Landon of the paranormal and cry. I don't care. It's what hit me at the moment. And I've been emotional on other episodes, and I'll be emotional again for different reasons and different things. But that's, to me, that's what makes this real. Is I'm not trying to be a superhero. I'm not trying to be Iron Man going in and fighting the demons. I'm going in as a human, trying to connect on a spiritual level with other humans, living and dead, and get answers. And that's it. But there was, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about it, Jim, if you don't mind, because they don't show it on the episest. But
let's do it. Let's do it when we come back. And you need to practice. You need to practice your Emmy speech, right? And the best emotional breakdown scene goes to Dave Schrader, Ghost of Devil's Perch. Dave, come on up here. But yeah, it was powerful. So let's continue. Let's take the break right here. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, the one and only Dave Schrader. We're talking about his new series. It's season 4, but it's The Ghost of Devil's Perch, and it's on Travel Channel Discovery Plus. More with Dave when we come back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, The X.
The Believer is the chilling true story of Dr. John Mack, a renowned Harvard psychiatrist and Pulitzer Prize winner.
This is an outreach program from the cosmos to the consciously impaired.
He risked it all to investigate human encounters with aliens. The Believer, Alien Encounters, Hard Science, and the Passion of John Mack. Written by award-winning former New York Times journalist and author Ralph Blumenthal. Now available in paperback from High Road Books.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? Unx Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX-DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony. Damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. My guest tonight is Dave Schrader. We're talking about, this is season 4, but this season is called The Ghosts of Devil's Perch, starring Dave Schrader and Cindy Kaza and Katie and a 50-year-old RV. And Dave.
And don't forget Chris Fisk, our historian. He is definitely one of the most important aspects of the show.
Chris is the man. Chris is the man. Now,
Spooks and Spirits in Butte. If you're there, check out his tours, Spooks and Spirits.
Yeah, he's so cool, man. He's so cool. And there's a moment. Okay, we're going to continue on with this.
I'll make it quick for you. Yeah.
No, but that's okay. But there's a moment with Chris, and you guys are sitting around the table. And I've got this huge respect for Cindy, but she knows what she's ghostwriting, right? And there's things going, and when she whips out that newspaper article that because Chris is the historian, right? He's got everything spread out across the table, and watching Cindy's reaction, right? Richard, Elaine, that's because of Chris. And Chris is able to. Chris didn't know, right? But he had
no clue who Richard was. But I love that scene because she looks like Sherlock Holmes while they're all talking and doing lip service. She's looking at articles because she wants to put this thing together to know what happened to her friend. Boom, Richard. Boom, shot. Boom, murder. It was to me was awesome.
Hey, Dave, I'm going to be straight with you. When she said Elaine, right? This is what I did. Oh, come on. I was like, no, really? Yeah, it was a great scene. It was a great scene. Okay, so let's go back. This was, for everybody, it's exactly what you think this scene is. Dave goes through this emotional process. What caused it and stuff, please just watch the show and you'll understand the processes that are involved here. Mm-hmm. But after things completed, Dave had, I'm not going to say with what, but he had his eyes covered. But I kind of had the suspicion when that reveal happened, I was going to see what I was going to see, which was big red puffy eyes and tears and everything happened. And it's a very powerful moment. But you wanted to expand on that.
Well, it was kind of a sensory deprivation experiment with sound and opening myself up to allow the spirits an access portal, if you would. We were doing an experiment, and I'd always wanted to try it because I've seen other shows do it, and I was very skeptical, like you. I'm kind of like, come on, put me in.
No, I will never do that. I've been, Dave. Let me be straight with you. I have been asked by mutual friends of ours, I might add, that you volunteered me for. Thank you. To go through these experiments. I won't do it. I've seen the process, and I know that these are very serious moments, and I can't do it. Okay, you did, but no, I don't think. No, I can't step up to that plate. Mm-mm.
Well, doing it, like I said, I have no regrets in doing it. I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I gave over to that opportunity for the spirit realm to make itself known to me in that way. And I started with I sensed this boy Willie Corrette trying to make communication with me. This boy that died very tragically near the property, and something was manipulating and playing a game with me. And then Willie kind of fades out to this cacophony of screams, and it sounds like you're right there inside the Hindenburg as it's crashing. You can just hear the metal twisting, the screams of pain, and people calling out for their moms, and it was just and it started to overwhelm, and I'm like, what? And that wasn't the creepiest factor, because when I'm talking about the other voice, so there's just this screaming, and then there's this voice calmly talking to me, telling me he's in control of everything. And the experience I'm having is because of him. And he's letting me hear what happened to the people of Butte. And it was this resonant, calm, creepy voice in my ear telling me, as this music of death is occurring in the background, and it would not stop. And then as it started to taper down, he just kind of laughed it off, and it was kind of like a welcome to Butte moment. And it the emotions just kept hitting me, because I'm not good with death as it is. And since then, I've talked to Cindy and Katie, and they're like, I don't think I would have had the same experience sitting in there, because it knew your weakness. You were already kind of open from the week before, and they knew what to hit you with, and they know about your fear of death, and the other side knows these things. And it was giving you, I wasn't getting a drink from a fountain. I was getting a drink from a fire hose, and it was taking pleasure in knowing that it was mentally torturing me. And it was one of those things like a car wreck. You want to turn away. I wanted to just stand up and tear off my mask and be done. But part of it is, this can't be real. Your brain's trying to process and make sense of everything that's going on. And when I got done, and I at one point I was crying out, and I told our director, because I saw this blank expression on his face and our main cameraman, and I said, I'm not around right now. I'm not joking. I'm not acting. Sit down and put on those GD headphones and listen to the screams. And Brian, the director, walked over, and you could see he was reticent. First of all, he's like, is this guy nuts? And he sits down, puts the headphones on, and closes his eyes and takes them off within seconds. And he goes, no. And then he told Katie, shut this down. And that's when he took me aside, and he was really kind of trying to cool me down. Katie quickly turned off the experiment and then came over to me and was walking me back down the slope of anxiety I was on. And, but he heard it briefly, but he could hear the screams, and it was so unsettling.
I did about a 30-minute session. I was asking the questions. Okay. All right.
Right.
And I'm sitting with Susan Slaughter, right? Our mutual friend.
Oh, yeah.
Who's just
Susan.
Absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
And we have somebody else that I don't want to get into names or things like that. It's very personal. But anyway, so Susan and I, we've got cameras rolling and things, and we're asking, it was going into another direction that I simply wasn't comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And Susan knew it too. And it had to do with, when you're dealing with kids or things, and and you're hearing these answers, and and in this case, there was a kidnapping, there was a trunk of a car involved, and there was a thing. It was getting way too crazy for me. But the emotion that this person is going through, right? And I could see it, and I wasn't asking questions to bring these answers.
Right. You weren't leading them.
No, not at all. I was like, wait, whoa, what? And Susan and I, Dave, looked at each other and went, you know what? No, this has got to end. It was just too traumatic. And Susan and I were just the, how do I say that? We were the observers, right? We were just asking the questions. It got way too emotional, and it was just too powerful. So, and watching you go through this now, let's back up though. Okay, let's back up, because there's a setup to this where we get into that uncomfortable zone where you guys see these child's handprints. And I'm not going to say how this went down or anything, but just that suggestion right there says that there's something really funky going on here. And this is a zone that none of us are comfortable with, right? But that doesn't change the event. It doesn't change the history, right? And what happened later with you is one thing, but when you see the handprints and what happened to Katie, right? I'm not going to... Were you thinking that this was a possibility? Because you don't know the backstory, right?
No, like I said, I was kind of blindsided by how big it all was. The handprints that were appearing, and the one thing that they missed, I will say, again, they got to pare it down to 42 minutes and 30 seconds. They missed when David Sheffield, the owner of the house, I asked him about the handprints, and he goes, "Yeah, the damnedest thing. I'll go down and I clean that." And 10 minutes later, I'll go back down and they're all over again, and they're in different places.
What? Okay, so you interviewed him, the two of you. He's sitting in the chair. Are you saying he said that and they didn't put that in the show? Somebody needs to be fired.
Well, again, and this is what you get so mad. People are like, "Well, are you happy with the episodes?" And you're kind of like, it's this weird dichotomy, because I filmed for 5 days, 12 hours a day. I know what's missing.
Right.
But you don't, because you weren't there, and you love the episode the way it is. And then my director would say to me, "All right, just do me a favor. Look at the episode. What 10 seconds would I pull out to put this in?" And then realize that not only do we now have that 10 seconds, but I now have to address it. And we have to make sure that fits in the whole storyline. So it then affects the entire episode. And with that, you understand the fragility of the story. So I understand some of the stuff you just got to skirt over quick. You see the handprints, we kind of alert you to them. It would have been great to have him say, "I've wiped them away." But, that gives me something to talk about when we go back and do the recap episodes. I get to do some of the behind the scenes stuff, and I do that on my podcast on Tuesday nights. I get to share some of those little insights that you didn't see in the episode. But I get it. It's tough. How do you cohesively tell hundreds of hours of storytelling in 42 minutes and still make it compelling, and still try to hit all the... Do we cut out 30 seconds of Dave's experience? Do we cut out 30 seconds of Cindy by room 7? Do we cut out 30 seconds? Let's cut out us driving in the RV. Cut that out. I don't need that. But that's kind of where we're at with those situations. So yeah, I'm not bummed by it. Would I like to see certain things done differently? Sure, but I understand for storytelling why it has to be done the way it is.
There's one thing about Butte I didn't know about, and that is the underground tunnels that connect the city together. Didn't know. I'm going on the record. The very first frames of Cindy and Katie, KD. It sounds like I'm saying Katie. I'm not saying Katie.
That's
Katie.
His wife.
Yeah.
His wife's name is KT and his name is KD.
Now that's messed up. That's messed up. That's not right. Okay. So, but the first few frames of them going into this quote unquote vaulted sidewalk. And it's like, what could that be? And the shot, right? And you see their back, and I'm like, I can't watch this. That is creepy. That is wrong. And apparently that's all over the place underground in Butte, right?
Yeah. Well, and Cindy kept picking up on there's something bigger. She called it the monster in the mine, not knowing if she means like Pennywise, or something just dark overall. And, we have to confront that in the season, and there is some emotional issues and I do something, I just teasing it out. I do something you almost never see me do when involving with spirits, but the dad in me comes out at one point, and I don't know. I haven't seen the episode yet, so I don't know how it plays out. It'll be interesting to see. I know what we did to put things to rest to the best of our ability, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays on TV. And if
I can't believe that
scared old man.
I can't believe they went in there, man. I can't. Did you go down there and check that out?
Yes, I went on my own at a different point, but they show in the highlights. So if you watch episodes, you realize there is a point where we have to go down into the mines, and we go.
Not me. But that scene right now, is there anything more haunted than that vaulted sidewalk? I mean, that just, you're not supposed to go in there. That's where you don't go, Dave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot more haunting. There's 3 episodes of air. There's 5 more to go. 8 total episodes in total. Sunday mornings it drops on Discovery Plus. Sunday nights on Travel Channel. And I do live tweet during the live show. So if you get a chance and you want to tweet along with me, just use hashtag Ghosts of Devil's Perch. And then I keep an eye on that hashtag so I can try to answer as many questions as I can during that hour while we're watching it together.
Now, there is. I want to know about the sense of cleansing, right? Mm-hmm. Where there is a switch that is turned on and off at some point, and the ominous feeling or pressure that may have been there at the beginning is now gone. Take me through that process. What do you feel?
Even in episode 1, kind of confronting Ferdinand Van Zant's spirit, and just sometimes it's laying out the story because they get so, this is a spirit that may just be a fractal, a small segment left of who Jimmy Church is in this location. It's not the fully resolved and logical spirit. It's that piece of him, the fractured, broken piece that was left behind. So sometimes you've got to tell them the bigger story. And the fact that, hey, don't lash out at the other people of Butte. You're mad at one guy, James A. Murray, not at Taylor, not at Cindy, not at me. And this isn't the way to be remembered, because then you will be remembered as the monster. You'll be remembered not as the victim of what took place in your time, but as this unholy beast that's hurting people now. And your wife, Amy, she loves you. We've caught her. As a matter of fact, there's a really cool piece of footage that we didn't show on the episode because this isn't a normal episode where you go, we investigate, then we break down our evidence and review it. We do it all in the moment. We catch it all in the moment, but we happen to review that bathroom scene when we're using the ghost projector. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like we're projecting a ghost, but it was just laying up a layer of laser light and smoke so that if there was something there, it could be seen. And KD saw something and took a picture. And I just showed it on my episode the other day on my recap. You see this male face with the long mustache like Ferdinand Van Zant, and then lower off on the picture, there's a profile of a woman with a bun in her hair in that smoke. And I'm like, Amy's here for you, man. Go to your love. Let go of this. This isn't the important part. So you do these things, and you could legitimately, after the water went on, there was kind of this sense of release. Like, okay, I get it. And we did something else that didn't air on the episode because, again, it was more for us. And we found an actual Bluebird mining certificate and it was for like a $20 mining certificate, and we signed it over to Ferdinand Van Zandt, and we took it back to the site of the Bluebird mine, and we put it into the wall, and we did a prayer and asked for a prayer of clearing and to help the spirit heal and move on. Well, they don't show a lot of the prayer stuff. They'll show it like kind of in the background as I'm doing the final voiceover, but that's because some people are very sensitive to religion, and we're trying to not offend some of the viewers in doing this. But they do allow us to do some of the stuff. And there's a couple episodes where they asked me, "Can you lead a prayer? Can you do something?" And I have no problem doing that. I know I can't do damage asking for help. So it's a weird town.
And you can and you can tell there's a sense that it's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get almost like a sense in some cases, like, when you've walked into a room after somebody's had a fight, right? And you weren't there for the fight, but you can walk in and just feel that tension in the room. And then one person will leave the room and it just kind of all the air goes out. You get that sense once in a while. And I've had things like when I was at Bobby Mackey's Music World 10, 11 years ago, my first introduction to Bobby Mackey's is I was in the basement near the hellhole. And, making sure everybody was gone for the night. We were ushering people out, and there was just a small group of my friends, like 4 or 5 of them. They're like, "We're just going to finish up the spirit box session." I said, "Okay, I'm going to go clear out the rest of the place, and we'll leave in about a half an hour." And as I started to walk out, the spirit box, Schrader. And I stopped, and I'm like, "Did that just say Schrader?" And I started walking again, Schrader. And all of a sudden I hear, "Hey, Dave, I think this thing's calling for you." And I turned around and kind of gave a look. I'm like, "Okay." So I walked back over and joined the group, and I'm like, "All right, I'm here. What can I do for you?" Pray. I'm like, "Okay." So we all grabbed hands. We started doing a prayer. Not once during the session did it make any more words. And we got done with our prayer, our clearing prayer. And it's not like a Hollywood movie. The sky doesn't open and lights show. I just said, "I hope that helped." And then it went joy. And that was it. And no other voices came through that night. So sometimes that's all you got to take it on. And I've often questioned, is the prayer even help? Am I being arrogant by thinking I can help pray these things? But you know what? I have a faith and I have a belief. And I think if you raise your voice and try to bring the attention and show love and good compassion and insight, I think God listens. And hopefully that's what we're doing in these moments. So yeah, I feel a difference sometimes. Sometimes you feel a difference, but you're not quite sure everything's gone. And Cindy will say that once in a while. She's like, I think we swept this debris under the carpet, but I feel like there's something else waiting. It's a vacuum. You remove something and something else is going to pop in.
And can you then walk away, right, knowing that, sort of like mission complete, but that there isn't anything else that you can add to this, right? That there isn't anything else that you can do.
Well, Dr. Hans Holzer, one of my mentors in this, and why I was part of the Holzer Files show, I loved his methodology that no case is ever truly closed. And even though he went in and helped a lot of these spirits 40, 50, 60 years ago with his mediums and doing the things he would do, he knew that sometimes by pulling that page back on the story, another story would step forward. So that's what we were doing, going back in 40 years later. We weren't necessarily bumping up against the ghosts he did, but we were bumping into new spirits, things that are there making their presence known at this time. So I don't think it's ever going to be closed. And Butte is a psychically scarred location. So much violence, so much bloodshed, so much blood, sweat, and tears in building this town. So many dreams shattered. So much resentment towards those that made a life and, from those that did not. So I think there's always going to be stories to tell. And hopefully we dealt with this monster in the mine at the end of the series. But I've had a few calls from a few of the friends in Butte that are like, yeah, I hope they give us another season because I think we're going to need some more help. So I'm down for it. I'd love to go back.
Do you ever get the sense everybody just relax? We're going to do overtime. Dave knows that he doesn't have a choice with that. So we're going to continue after this. But after so much activity, we've got many episodes to go through here. But are you afraid, and Cindy too, and Katie, that you may take some of this with you? And do you think that you have?
I've had things happen to me after I've got home from filming TV shows, but like I always say, I can't see. I can't see what's with me. So I don't know if it's the ghost from Butte, or you stay in an area long enough that's haunted and rich with that type of activity. It's like taking a big magnet and a paper clip. The paper clip is not magnetized, but if I rub it on that magnet a few times and then take it over and touch it to other paper clips, I can get a string of 4 or 5 going because of the magnetism of being in that area for so long. So maybe it's the spirits from the airport or the spirits of somebody that passed away in my neighborhood that see the light that I'm working in, and they come over to try to get noticed. And we just pray them out. And I try not to, I do not investigate my own home, but I will lay down prayers and I lay down rules, and leave my kids alone. Do this. If you have something you need to communicate to me, communicate, but then you're not welcome in my home. And I do a lot of prayer. That's my thing. Prayer and kind of not necessarily meditation, but clearing and just trying to keep myself straight, because I do have kids and I don't want to bring something with malevolent intent back home. But I try to be pretty cautious in how I do things too. Once in a while you make a mistake and you say, okay, use me to communicate. And then you realize you should have been a little bit more specific, right? You can use my energy, but you can't enter me and you can't use my physical form to do this. So, sometimes I'll stumble and made mistakes, and I've paid the ultimate price for it. So
yeah, my house is haunted.
Mm-hmm.
I used to get pretty freaked out. Now, Dave, you know what? I just don't give a crap. I'm just living with it. I'm not going to ghost hunt here. I'm not. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe.
Don't do it. Don't do it. You don't want to turn that light on.
Right. I just kind of, I told everybody this story. I don't think you heard it at the beginning of the show tonight, but I had a friend of mine. He's a really good guitar player, Jordan Ziff, and he's a pretty popular guy out there in the music world. And so he comes over. We're playing guitar and goofing around. This was Saturday, Dave. Saturday. I'm sitting in this chair with the guitar. Obviously, I've got guitars here, right? So I'm sitting here playing. He's sitting right there. I have a thing, and he's sitting here, and the two of us are in here in the studio. I've got these arms folded up in the chair. I'm playing guitar, and he's playing. We're having a good time. At that moment, it's about 9:00 at night. Thunk, thunk, like loud. Sounded like, and I was kind of joking about this, like somebody bringing a refrigerator down the stairs on a dolly, right? Boom, boom, like that. And we kind of looked at each other, stopped playing, and it just, thunk, thunk, it happened again. He takes it, he runs out to see what's going on. I take my guitar off. I follow him. There's nothing. Dude, it was loud, right? Now, we came and didn't find anything. I told him it was fireworks outside. He didn't buy that, but I was just trying to calm him down. Nothing else happened. But what's the alternative, like you're saying? Do we go through the house and stir up the spirits and see what's going on and try to do a parent? No. I choose to ignore it, and I'd rather just live with it and let it go. That's the right approach, right?
Yeah. Usually you just, you want to get help in there if it's taken a bad turn. Maybe you're just being haunted by the ghost of Art Bell, and it was the beginning of the Coast to Coast theme. Doom, 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 doom. I don't know. I never tell people to investigate their own home. And there's, for your listeners out there, there's, if you're religious, there's a prayer called the Prayer of Michael the Archangel. Read that prayer throughout your house. Open the front door, open your windows, read the Prayer of Michael the Archangel, shoo those spirits out of your house. Another one I do. Another one. There's no harm in it. I just do it. And I do a quick prayer that's just along the lines of, Lord, I just ask that you invite the Holy Spirit through this home, baptize every room in the blood of Jesus Christ, and help any spirits that are lost or forgotten to find their way home. I ask that you bring forward their loved ones, their pets, their friends, their neighbors, to help them see the light and make their way out. And for those spirits that wish to stay, Lord, I just ask that you bind them in a thorny hedge of protection if they mean anybody any harm. And I pray this in your name. Amen. And that's kind of the prayer I do everywhere, just as a quick clearing prayer, as a way to draw attention to the location again, and say it with 2 or 3 of my people, or Shane and Cindy, or Katie and Cindy, and just trying to get that attention to the location and show the intention that we want these spirits to find their way out.
Let's take our break right here. We'll come back. We're going to pick this conversation right here. What we're talking about is not going to end. We're going to pick up when we come back. This is Fade to Black, going into overtime with the one and only Dave Schrader. Hey, I don't have Dave on the show as often as I should. And the reason why is that everybody after that says the same thing. Dave and Jimmy should have a show. Dave and Jimmy should have a show. And if I do that and I go on vacation, I come back, he takes over. It's not going to happen. My guest tonight, Dave Schrader. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hello, Fadernauts. Jimmy Church here. You've seen me with my thunderstorm. Now you can purify the air in your home and get healthy, clean, fresh-smelling air and eliminate odors just like I do right here in the bunker. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm uses oxy technology that naturally sends out O3 molecules into the air, which seek out odors and air pollutants in your home and destroys them. It's called a thunderstorm because it purifies the air just like after a thunderstorm. And right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. With this special offer, you're getting 3 units for under $200. Seriously. Go to EdenPureDeals.com and use Fader3. Shipping is free and it's easy. Just scroll down. You'll see my name right there, Jimmy Church. Click on it and get your deal today. That's EdenPureDeals.com.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. And I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can right now get your own free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, the X.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? Unix Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX-DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
You intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. We're in overtime with Dave Schrader. And we just, Dave, we just hit a pretty cool magical moment here on the show in that we just hit 100,011 101 subscribers. That's a lot of ones. How cool is that? Yeah, right?
Fantastic.
And it just looking at the number, I'm going to do a screen grab of this. It's just like it's just too cool to look at. And do you ever look at the clock at 11:11? Is it something that just happened? What?
No, I look at it at 11:22. That's my birthday, so I always notice 11:22.
Oh, that's even stranger. Okay, why is it your brain that is programmed for that, where your brain knows that it's 11:22 and that's what you look at? Do you think that's what it is, or do you think there's because I find it very strange that I look at the clock every night at 11:11. I don't look at it at 11:12. I don't look at it at 11:10. I don't look at it at 11 or 11. It's like 11:11. I just laugh.
Well, it's like I didn't need an alarm to wake up for school. I always woke up at the time I needed to every day on the dot. And I think once you get used to 11:11, your body's just used to it. You probably glance up. That's one take. A lot of people believe it's the angel number and it means something more. I always tell people then when you notice it, instead of wondering why, take note of the moment you're in. Give thanks for that moment. Give gratification or gratitude for all the great things in your life and tie it to something really cool and important. But I think it's mnemonic trigger. I think I probably look at the clock 40,000 times a day, but it doesn't mean anything until I notice, 11:22, that's my birthday. I probably didn't realize I looked at it at 10:57 and 11:28 and but the 11:22 stuck out. It's like when I bought a PT Cruiser because I liked that it looked like a 1930s gangster car.
Sure.
And I went to pick mine up off the lot and they didn't have the black one. And the only other car they had was a white one, which looked like a crappy little ambulance, or a purple one. And I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan. I said, I'll take the purple one. I've never seen a purple PT Cruiser. This is going to be awesome. And I got on the road, Jimmy, and 10 minutes later, I saw 25 purple PT Cruisers. So suddenly your brain starts to recognize patterns, and that's pareidolia. So I think that a lot of the numbers are us just noticing things. Today you're thinking about Grandpa and there's a pack of Lucky Strikes. Do you think Grandpa really left them out for you? Or did you just notice it today because you happen to be thinking of Grandpa and that meant something? It's hard to say what came first, chicken or the egg. Order both off of Amazon and let me know which arrives first. That'll give you the answer.
Yeah, I gave up a long time ago tripping on it. Because I just accept it. I mean, there is no question at all that you can be sitting there going, man, I haven't talked to Schrader in 6 months, and the phone rings, right? That's not a coincidence, man. I
think that's something pretty cool, but that shows the connectivity of each one of us. That shows that we are really all part of one energy. And sometimes you can be aware of it. Have you ever had those moments, Jim, where you're just sitting there and all of a sudden you kind of fade out and you realize you're there, but your consciousness is somewhere else. And you've just got that far away look in your eye. I think we're going along and pinging the spider web of our life. And we're just checking in on everybody, making sure everybody's okay. And then we come through and we're okay.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I seriously am. I think it's awesome. And I feel sorry for those out there, seriously, that don't enjoy these moments. They're not aware of them. They don't pay attention to them. They don't care about them. They don't ponder the thought of a thought process that there is something else that is going on out there that we can't explain. That they're not enjoying life, and I genuinely feel sorry for how boring that would be to just not consider these things. I enjoy it. I laugh, man. Last night, it's every night, man. After the show, I'm sitting in my family room. I've got dinner. I sit down. And it's whatever. It's 10:45, right? And fire up the TV and getting comfortable. I haven't looked at the clock. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's about that time, right? But I'll be sitting there. I'll just glance down. 11:11. Yeah, and I just laugh, man.
Yep.
It's like my little
take note. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my little moment to myself, man. I enjoy it. Now, I want to circle back to the religious thing. It happens a few times during the first 3 episodes. I don't know what's happening later. I haven't seen the season yet. But there are a couple of moments where it happens in the Cabbage Patch, right? You bring in a minister. And he does his thing. You also have kids coming in right after that. And you can't tell the kids, oh, by the way, a couple of days ago, man, some crazy stuff went down here.
Right.
And now you're about to spend the night. No, you can't do that. But you also have to have concern, right? That is what is going on. Were you, was there a sense of relief in the Cabbage Patch after the priest does his thing?
Yeah, there really was. And then just as a backup, we were there that night when the kids got there, and our team stayed for quite a while. And you see the scene where we're out there interacting with the kids, and we told some ghost stories and we told some cool stuff and answered some questions. And then I took the mayor and the police chief in and showed them the footage of what had happened to me at the Cabbage Patch. Explaining to them that there's a lot going on, but we're here and we're going to keep an eye on stuff. We stayed until the kids were going down to bed just to make sure nothing happened while they were investigating and checking places out. We wanted to be on hand quick. And our HQ is literally like 3 blocks away. So Fisk had my number, had KD's number, had Cindy's number. So we were on the ready that night that if anything went down, we would be back in the RV and fly over there. And thankfully, nothing happened. And, we left kids with a positive vibe. And again, I think a lot of it has to do with the mentality you're in and the intention you bring to a situation. If you go in fear, it's easy for spirits to mess with you.
Okay. So do spirits give a crap about a blessing from a minister, a priest, holy water, sage burning, whatever it is, salt at the doorway? Do they give a crap about that? And if they do, are we leaning towards something? I'm going to use the word demonic. What's the balance here? What do you think is actually happening?
I think a lot of it just has to do with the power of intention of what you're doing. And when you're bringing intention of a bunch of people together to put in positivity and deflect negativity, I think that does have an effect and an impact. Again, you can feel that difference when you go in. If you're you're at home and you're dealing with everyday life and paying bills and having issues with the wife and kids, and then you go to church that day and there's celebration and singing and brotherhood, and it brings you into a different place. No matter what religion you're a part of, there's a different intention and level of energy. And I think if you work at bringing that level of energy up, things change for you. That's the law of attraction. And that's how a lot of really incredible things happen in life. And there's a lot of your viewers and mine that may scoff at that, but you're talking to a 55-year-old bald fat guy on TV who's dreamt about it ever since he was a kid. I put myself in those positions by intention, by manifesting throughout my entire life. I've gotten 90% of what I've wanted in life. Doesn't always mean that it works out well, but I've gotten 90% of what I wanted in life. And I'm guessing that 10% didn't come through for a reason. right? The old unanswered prayers melody of, sometimes what you don't get sets you on a path for something even better. So I'm totally cool with manifestation and intention and putting forth that good energy. Prayers, whether you believe in them or not, I've seen remarkable changes. My youngest son was born August 8th, 2009. He was almost 3 months premature. He weighed less than 2 pounds. Doctors and his mom had preeclampsia and almost died on the table. They had to do an emergency C-section. And I left and I posted about it and posted on my social media, and I had thousands of prayers come in from around the world. The doctor told me this kid's going to be in the hospital for at least 5 to 6 months because he's almost 3 months premature. So he'll have to be in here for those 3 months, and then he's going to need another 3 months because he has to be able to swallow on his own. He has to maintain his own body heat. He has to do this. He has to do that. We brought our son home 2.5 weeks after he was born. So
that is the power of intention. There is an extreme energy that happens there. Some may call it, religious or a miracle. Okay, whatever your definition is, but it's the energy of the universe. And I don't want to be all, I don't want to be all new agey with this and crystals and that stuff. But you can't deny that this is what is happening. Science just hasn't figured it out yet.
Oh, science has figured it out, but there's no way to monetize it. So science doesn't talk about it. It doesn't. I don't mean to sound conspiratorial, but they don't want you manifesting good health. It's easier and better money for me to, sell you little blue pills, right? And make you feel better through medicine. I've suffered lifelong depression and anxiety. I'm the one that pulls myself out of it every time. I don't need medication. I've done medication for short bursts just when I've been in a really bad place. But a lot of it has to do with the manifestation and intention I put myself into. It works for me. It doesn't work for everybody. And you got to find what works for you. But whether you want to call it God or the universe or source or Gaia, have a belief in something. That's like God, I can't think of the word. Scott Walters is one of them, and I'm the Freemasons.
Yes.
You don't have to believe in God, but you have to believe in something. You have to have belief. And I believe in God, and I believe in Christ, but I also believe in the power of people, and I believe in the power of people coming together for a good cause can change things. We've done prayer intentions for Colorado a decade ago when they were getting all those blazes. And we did prayer requests and energy and send the rains. And all of a sudden they got torrential rainfalls. Roads were washing out. Businesses were flooding. We had to reel it back. And then I was real cautious with going forward with those kind of intentions. But we were doing it, and we were getting California. They're in a drought. They have no rain on their radar. We all start praying for 3 days and sending intentions. And all of a sudden they're getting bursts. They're getting rain. So it's just in the way you do it now, right? The book, The Secret, is an interesting book, but what they don't tell you is the best way to do it is not just say, I want. You have to see what life is like once you have it. Imagine not just that the rains are coming, but imagine the fire's out. Imagine new growth growing up through the ground. Imagine the birds and animals returning to this area. You've got to see the full scale end of it, I think, for manifestation and intention to work properly. And I think that's why it's a really cool superpower all of us have. You just have to be willing to look into it. So new agey or not, it works.
I know. And we've been praying for rain here. We're in the middle of a heat wave. Everybody knows what's going on. We've been praying for rain. And I don't know if you know this, but you can check it out right now on the news. Do you know what's happening right now in Southern California?
I don't.
We have a hurricane. And it has just formed off of the Pacific coast of California.
Oh, is that Earl?
No, it starts with I think it's Katie, actually.
Okay.
I think it's Hurricane Katie. It's going to be here over the weekend. Yeah. So, all that prayer, all that intention. Well, here you go. How about a hurricane? So, yeah. So we're going to get what desperately needed moisture, but awesome. Probably a little more than we've asked for or wanted.
Well, then you still have time. They've turned back the tides of war. They've turned back horrible storms. Just have all of your 100,000 listeners start focusing on good drenching rain that's healthy for the land and healthy for the people, and brings a storm in that refreshes everything and leaves everything as it was, but now just better and restored. And focus on that, and you never know what you might get. You might just see that Hurricane Katie turns into Tropical Storm Dave and is much easier to deal with.
Somebody just Claudia just said it's called Hurricane K. Now, why don't we see ghosts of dinosaurs?
Maybe we do. Maybe that's what Bigfoot is.
So
maybe
those,
not that he's a dinosaur, but
the monsters in the night. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, here's my. I think this is an interesting theory, and I'm going to play on science fiction to talk about this. We know that time is not linear; it doesn't start here and end here. Time is this big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey mess, right? So maybe what's happening is this timeline of 1880 to 2030 happens to be laying over, something else, another timeline. That's why 1880 to 1920 is laying over 2000 to 2030. So that's why we're seeing those ghosts. And maybe as 2030 turns the corner and it suddenly starts to lay against 1950 to 1990, or maybe further back in time. And as that timeline undulates and keeps changing, like the string theory, maybe it lays on different spots. And that's when we'll see those different elements of hauntings come through a little bit more strong. But I don't think hauntings are any one thing. I think there is timelines that are touching. I think there is thinning of the veil in some areas. I think there is residual hauntings. There are intelligent hauntings. But who's haunting who? Is that intelligent haunting grandma seeing you through the veil and thinking her house is haunted, and you're seeing her thinking, oh my God, grandma's visiting me, but she never told you that one day she was in her house and all of a sudden you appeared in front of her and she thought she was just crazy, so she never brought it up. There's a lot of that going on. You hear these haunted prisons, haunted asylums and sanatoriums and sanitariums, that while it was fully functioning, it was haunted. And then we go in and we're investigating Waverly Hills, and we round the corner and a nurse looks up and sees us and turns around and went, why did she run from us? You're the ghost, but maybe we were her ghost. So I think there's a many different myriad of examples of what really is taking place. And I don't think there's any one of those that totally locks down everything that we're experiencing.
So Sasquatch could be the ghost of Neanderthal, right?
Or the missing link, or whatever. Sure.
Right. That's interesting. You're kind of freaking me out with this, but I've get that question a lot. Well, why is it that we're seeing Confederate soldiers, in in Gettysburg, right? And you hear these stories, whatever it is, you go to that historical moment, but that they're not the only people that could be, or entity or spirit or whatever, right, that could be at that location. History goes back a long ways. So where is everything else? Or are we seeing it and we're just not understanding what it is that we're encountering?
Here's an interesting element to look at. Maybe the reason that we don't see dinosaurs is because dinosaurs didn't know to pray. They didn't go to spiritualists. They didn't reach through the veil to try to communicate with other dinosaurs that had passed away. Most of spiritualism and the big cycles take place during wartime, during the Civil War, during the American Revolution. Right after 9/11 is when this new explosion of paranormal programming and heightened spiritualism kicked in. Mm-hmm. So people were seeking answers outside of the normal. So my concept on this is maybe the reason we see these things is because those are the tracks in time that we opened a wound, because we were looking for closure. We were looking to communicate with those spirits, and we created an opening for the spirits of the Civil War, because so many parents and brothers and sisters and mothers and wives were calling forth those spirits, that we created that chasm. And maybe it's in those moments that we see the most dramatic elements. And, my friend Jeff Belanger says, ghosts are history's way of demanding to be remembered. And for good reason, because of those of us that lost and are grieving, and for those of us that have crossed over and don't want to be forgotten.
I can't wait for episode 4. I'm really, really excited about this. I have to wait till Sunday. Normally, Dave sends me the entire season in advance. This time around, I just got forgotten and lost in the mix. But that's fine, Dave. I'll ride this out with everybody else. But when do you put out the new stuff? Paranormal 60 hits on Fridays?
Mondays and Fridays. Monday nights, we do interviews. Fridays, we do a look at the news and have some other cool elements like Paratunes and upon further review, movie review segments and other fun stuff. And then Tuesdays, during the run of Ghosts of Devil's Perch, I'm going to do a bonus episode where we do a recap of the previous week's episode with a sneak peek at the next week. So right now you can find 3 episodes a week. YouTube, best way to check us out, Mondays and Fridays, or listen to us anytime through most of the major podcast platforms out there.
Now, I don't want to bum everybody out, but maybe your answer will be different. There'll be a season 5 and it'll be in another location. Are they going to bring in a brand new team?
Hopefully, if there's another season, it'll be on our team. Shepherdstown did 2 seasons in Shepherdstown.
Right.
They only made a change because the network got bought out and they brought over and tried to use a talent that was already part of their contract, which was Ben Hansen, Sarah Lemos, Jeremy Leonard, KD, and then they moved us in. They claimed at the beginning they'd like to keep a core team together going forward, but I don't know. Maybe we'll meet in a new town. I hope we get to go back to Butte because, like I said, there's still a lot of stories I want to know about, and we have a great historian there and a great location. So,
you
really do feel like you're back in time. Yeah,
you have a great team, and the chemistry is right.
Thank you.
It's a great team individually, but together, you guys. And I recommend not just because it's Schrader. Okay, this is great stuff. And if I'm going to pick up the phone and text Dave at 1:00 in the morning, dude, this is awesome. It's because I mean it. It's a great series.
Thanks, buddy.
And congratulations, man. Thank you so much.
You.
Always great having you on, my man. And let's do it again as soon as we can.
How about when the series wraps up in October? It's going to end up around the second week in October. Maybe we can come back and talk about all the other weird stuff that you saw and the questions you're left with. How does that sound?
I would love that. I would absolutely.
Sounds good, Jimmy.
And I look forward.
Thank you, buddy.
Dave, you're the best, my man. Thank you so much.
Take care, buddy.
Dave.
Thank you, everybody.
The Schrader knots. Get out of here, man. I'll talk to you. Dave Schrader. What a great conversation tonight. And again, it's on Travel Channel and Discovery Plus, The Ghost of Devil's Perch. And like I've been saying this all night, three episodes are out, so you can get through those and then get to episode 4 this Sunday. It's incredible. And here's the thing: we talked a lot tonight. You're gonna watch the season and go, man, you guys just barely touched this. So much stuff is going on. You're really going to enjoy it. So thank you so much for that, Dave. And I'm going to get out of here. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow night is Fader night with open lines all night long. Yeah, now that Dave is over, I can say that tomorrow night's my favorite night of the week. That's right. Fade to Black is produced by Hill J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Viteau, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. And this broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2022 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night is Fader night. Until we get there, I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.